He'll make America great again. AM 560 KBLU, Russ, Cark with you. Thursday morning, 6:05. Beautiful day out. I wore a little heavier jacket today. Maybe I'm used to the cold. I don't know. Not used. Let's phone line 928-344-5258. And let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Good morning, Russ.
Hey, good morning, Danny.
How you doing, buddy?
Doing well. Yourself?
Good. Hey, I love this weather, man.
It's a nice change.
Yeah, it's a lot better than 120 degrees.
Yeah, but I survive in either one. I'm capable. We'll do it.
Yeah, I can't say the word. Acclimate. You can acclimate to the weather.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Okay, it's early, Russ. Yeah. So anyway, the reason I'm calling is I don't get these Democrats, man. I really don't.
Okay.
They don't make sense. I mean, they don't care about the American people, and all they care about is getting Donald Trump.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. But you know, they make sense to themselves. They do. I think. I don't think they can fake it, but they just have a different vision. They think that their form of government of giving everything away and all that it's ridiculous that we don't accept it. It's just amazing to me. I agree with you. There's a frustration, but they really do believe that Donald Trump is destroying the country, while the rest of us see that he's really bringing it back to the Constitution as it was designed and what made it prosperous.
Exactly.
They think it's time to move on to something totally different. And
Yeah.
Even though the models that they come up with are exactly the same models that the other countries have that fail, I say fail. My fact checker will stop me on the fail part because it doesn't fail. Russia doesn't fail. It's very good for Putin and his munchkins out there that go out and oligarchs and all that. It's good for the people at the top, and so that Edward points out it's not really a failure. It's working as it's designed. People at the top have everything. People at the bottom, there's a big separation. Where we have a country that's open for everybody, and Democrats don't see that.
No, you know something? Everything that the Democrats are accusing Donald Trump of, they do.
Yeah. That has been amazing. I mean, everything from the lawsuits, people suing him because of real estate deals, which were bogus, where they had real estate fraud.
Yeah. And you know something? You see, when something doesn't go right for the Republicans, you don't see them crying and hammering their hands against the floor and stuff like that, and having boots flying all over the place.
Right.
But the Democrats do.
They do. But we need to keep talking. And more people are recognizing it. But the Democrats are left are digging in deep and are undeterred by logic. They're undeterred by what's in front of them. They're looking for one thing, and they find what they're looking for. And they're looking for condemnation of Donald Trump and problems with our community and creating chaos. They want to create chaos so they can take over and fix the chaos.
And their vision of what the Constitution and what it should be.
Well, I think it's what they call a living document, where it's going to be interpreted different. I mean, they'll interpret the words in today's language, which is a ridiculous concept. And look, the Constitution is open to change, but it has a very specified way to make that change. It isn't going through the court system to change the Constitution. It's going to the legislature and the people that can have a say in it and change the Constitution. They call them amendments. Amendments have been done to change the nature of the country. They're trying to take a shortcut.
Well, we should talk to Dean, because Dean's a scholar.
Dean is very much, studied into that, particularly when it comes around, Second Amendment stuff, uh, gun rights and everything, and his Supreme Court rulings and all that, because, it affects so much to do with the guns is what his basis is. Of course, he does more than that. That's I think his
Mhm,
passion was the guns that started him down that route, I would guess. Plus, he's a scientist, and he's used to research,
mhm.
enjoys it. So, yeah, yeah, very much.
Yeah. Okay, buddy.
Thanks, man. Take care.
Yeah, have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye. Pentagon is rolling back some, Biden policies, which I thought were already done. I didn't know this one hung around. The defense enrollment eligibility reporting system under Biden, they allowed you to go into that, the DEER, as they call it, to change your gender marker. That included retirees, contractors, family members. So I guess you could wake up one day and say that, you know, I don't feel like being a guy anymore. I want to be a gal. And you go right into the U.S. military defense enrollment eligibility reporting system, and you could change it. Uh, so you could change the pronouns and all that kind of stuff. And that just happened yesterday that they amended the federal guidelines. I don't know what took so long. I know the military has been changing, but the move reverses the procedures issued in 2024 by former President Joe Biden, allowed designated groups to alter their gender marker. A gender marker is a data element that identifies a person's male or female. Changes may now be made only if there's an administrative error, according to the system from a January executive order by President Donald Trump. So the executive order came out in January. The federal guidelines, the amended federal guidelines came out yesterday. And that executive order was titled Defending Women from Gender Ideology Extremism and Restoring Biological Truth to the Federal Government. It's a pretty simple title. That that went out there. The order declares that sex is binary and unchangeable. Transgender service members are no longer authorized to serve in the United States. I don't know. I don't know if you caught that when it first came out. It says no longer authorized. I mean, if you're transgender, no room, no room for you. And if I remember right about the order, it was looking back at the mental stress already on this person doing transgender and all of that, and the drugs that would be taken, and for hormone corrections, hard to do at theater war maybe. So they just said no, no, we're not gonna handle that. The rule went into effect Monday, the same day it's published in the Federal Register, according to the Pentagon. The Defense Department does not track how many people the change is expected to affect. Well, good. I don't think it's important tracking. It shouldn't. The Defense Department is designated the rule final and immediately enforceable. Some people question, say, "Well, you change the rule without going to the public." I guess that's customary, except this came from the president, so they went ahead and did it. Removing the regulations immediately provides transparency and may reduce confusion. I agree. Um, so we're back to biological sex, which elections make a difference. So watch when you go to the voting booth. You may change biological sex. You could vote in another you know another biological sex. Seems odd that but that's what's happening. The party you vote for could change your biological sex. That's kind of crazy. I've got a few comments about, um, of course, the United States has been taking an active role in destroying Colombian or not Colombian, but Venezuelan ships of narcotics and just destroying them out at sea, just, personnel, the cargo, the ship, everything, just, not playing games anymore. They're at war right now with, drug runners. And some people have been concerned that, there's going to be a pushback at some point about, the people that are killed in these things. A family of the Colombia fisherman that was killed in the US boat has just filed a complaint alleging murder. Now, yeah, it's Venezuela boats, but they can hire whoever they wanna hire, I guess, and I don't know if they're claiming the guy was fishing or he just happened to be on the boat. I don't understand from the reading I've got whether they admitted that he was, drug running or that it was just a mistake and they shot up a boat. I don't believe the United States shot up a I mean, the intelligence we have, the satellite systems, the drones that have cameras and all that, they pretty much know what a fishing boat looks like versus one going high speed with 4 Evinrudes, trying with drugs on board, stacked in the middle of the boat, no fishing equipment. But that's my guess. We'll see where it goes. But they filed a formal complaint, and you gotta wonder, well, who do they file the complaint with? They go to the D no, they don't go to DC. They go complaint with the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, and they allege he was murdered by the United States government. Dan Kovach, he's the attorney, the human rights attorney. He says, well, they point out there's 82 people killed in the Caribbean and in the Pacific since the beginning of September, and the death of Alejandro Carranza, who died on September 15th. He was off the coast of Colombia, and Americans say it was an attack on drug smugglers. The family rejected the claims he was in possession of any drugs. Said the fisherman was only doing his job when the vessel was targeted in the anti-narcotic. What do you mean doing his job? He wasn't in possession of drugs, but he was doing his job. It didn't say he was fishing. They said he was doing his job. What was his? Was he hired by the cartel to drive the boat, but didn't have any drugs in his pocket? I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of vague, and I haven't read anything on the complaints completely. But family further alleges that Carranza was denied his rights under international law to due process and a fair trial. Ooh, and he accused the United States of carrying out extrajudicial killing. Due process is a favorite thing to the left right now. It didn't always be. It was no due process on January 6th, of course. There was no due process. People were just arrested, thrown in solitary, and then had to bargain for their freedom. Many of them pleaded guilty to stuff they knew they didn't do, uh, because they were threatened with life in jail. And that was after they spent a lot of time in lockdown in prisons, many of them in terrible conditions. Yeah, there was no due process there, but, the left never said anything about due process to American citizens. Was it 800 or so? It was a lot of people, and I don't think we yet know, exactly what happened on J6 and who was behind it, but it wasn't Trump, we know that. Well, according to the petition, Secretary Hegseth, and the petition says anyway, that Secretary Hegseth has admitted to he gave such orders. Well, well, he says from numerous news reports they got that U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth was responsible for ordering the bombing of boats like those Alejandro Carranza and the murder of all those such boats, which is true. He's the Secretary of War, and they're designated those drug running boats designated terrorist activity coming from Venezuela mostly, and I don't know why how a Colombian probably hired. Believe me, the people in fighting for Russia are not born in Russia. A lot of them they're coming from all over, but they're still on a battlefield, and I in my opinion, this Alejandro, he got into a battlefield second he entered a drug boat, if he was on one. Uh, they're not saying he was on a boat, they just said he was doing his job, and he's a fisherman. But he says, the complaint says Hegseth conduct was ratified by Trump. Well, I think it was more than that. I don't think it was acting independently. Uh, I'm sure there was discussions had that included Trump before they decided to carry out these missions. All that was true, but the way it's written in here, it's conspiracy theory or something. Like they're not hiding from it. They absolutely cautioned everybody. The word was out. People knew that this was going to happen before they got on the boat. I would think. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Hey, Russ, how you doing?
Doing well. Good morning, sir.
That's good. I'm feeling better.
Oh,
I don't
good.
feel like Kafka anymore. Yeah, yeah. Apparently, I feel like Kafka still.
Oh,
But
I trust your wife on that. Yeah, Carla.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
she knows.
You should. Yeah, Vicks on the chest and Vicks on the feet. Put socks on,
Yeah.
and yeah. Anyway, the reason I'm calling, I'm hearing all the stuff about the boats and all that.
Yeah.
I want to know more on the state of Arizona and that our illustrious governor that we have here. I'm hearing so much garbage about her,
Well,
but I'm not seeing anything.
what do you mean seeing? What do you want to see?
I want to see our legislators taking care of business. Let's get this out in the public. When we have an election coming on, she is for fraud. Isn't she? They have her on fraud or
Yeah. There's allegations of those things. Yeah, absolutely, and they've been made public. I don't know where the process stands on that, but that's a great question.
I,
I don't think it's being ignored, Gilbert, but it's great to check on it and find out exactly where it stands. Yeah.
I think we should have more of it. And again, media. But yeah, I'm hearing. It's sad. I see stuff on Facebook, but I don't believe everything I see on Facebook either.
No.
But with all these
Yeah.
allegations, how could she possibly run for governor with all this? She's facing all this.
Well,
That
to vet the governor before you vote on it is done differently on the Democrat side than it is on the Republican side.
oh yeah, yeah. The
Uh,
more you, you
yeah.
create, the better.
Right, and keep in mind, it's the voters that do it in the long run, and look, that young lady that just ran in Tennessee that fell 9% short, how did she get that many votes anyway? How did she get it when she says, "I hate Tennessee, I hate Nashville, I hate country music and bars. Please
I
vote
heard
for me to run your city."
73% of the voters, something like that. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it was a 9% difference, so yeah,
Yeah,
she got over 40%.
yeah.
Yeah, so how in the heck can that happen? It happens because you have a T by her name, and people are gonna go in and vote D no matter what.
And so it's. I hate to say this. I'm a Trumper.
Yeah,
I'm a Trumper. There's no
yeah,
doubt about it. You know that.
sure.
But I'm wondering that they voted for her because people hate Trump.
Of course.
Just like that idiot that talked about shooting his opponent and his two kids.
Of course. Of course.
Wow. And then you're looking at Seattle with a councilwoman
Yeah.
that's talking all sorts of garbage,
Mhm.
and it's because they hate Trump.
Yep.
That so we as Republicans, actually we as American citizens, real American citizens that want to save America, we need to come out. We need to come out and really support President Trump.
History apparently shows us, Gilbert, and this is what I've been reading, that
Yeah,
the party that just isn't really for anything, but always against everything, and eventually it starts to completely crumble a little bit. And we see that in the Democrat Party. It's of course not gone away by any means, but it's
right.
smaller than it was last year, smaller than it was 2 years ago, 3 years, 4 years. Because it's on a decline. It's a slow decline.
But
Loyal Democrats are hanging in, remembering, well, JFK was good, and we'll get back to that someday. I'm going to keep voting for these radical crazies until then, and I
um,
don't get it.
yes and no, Russ. I got to disagree with you because
Okay,
yes, it's coming down, but not at the amount that we need. You got to realize they're still putting out racism.
Oh, I said it was slow. It's not
Yeah,
fast.
real slow. We're
They're
talking
hanging
about
they're hanging on. These guys are gonna hang on, and if you ask them about the specifics about programs, most of them will walk away. They don't want to talk about programs. They're just Democrats because
that, that,
that's it.
yeah, uh, like I saw a thing the other day that they put it out. What the Democrats have done to
Mhm.
America,
Right.
beginning slavery and blah 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 blah. And it's funny how these people want reparations for slavery when it was the Democratic Party, and your first slave owner was a black man. You had
Well,
100 some odd black slave owners in
buddy,
America.
it's not about that. They just want the money, you know?
Well, I know that, bro. I know that. But what
Okay.
I'm saying, why aren't we putting out all the statistics of what actually happened? Why don't we put out the history?
Oh,
Because Republicans put
I think it is, but it's ignored. I mean, it's ignored. Now, when you ask the people that are pro reparations about the history,
Mhm.
they don't have a clue because they're not gonna look at it. If it was right in front of them with a
Mhm.
bullhorn, they're not gonna look at it, and they still won't know.
Well, we know that just like the Al Sharptons. Look at all the stuff that he caused.
Yeah,
He caused himself. Those 13 lacrosse boys that
yeah.
were persecuted. Because it's because again the media has the power. They have the platform. I guess is what we would call it.
He's done for Tawana Brawley before that.
Mhm.
That's who you're talking about. She accused of
Right,
sexually assaulting and all that, and then later recanted. And
right.
he doesn't care. He still goes on like it was the right thing. Just like the
Eh,
people going about the Russia gate.
oh yeah, the Russian
Still,
gate. Yeah,
they haven't let it go, even though it beat to death and proven that it was just absolute counter politicians, trying to drum up something to harm Trump. Started with Hillary, and these
and
people they won't let it go.
well, they're pointing out to Obama. Obama was right in the middle of all that,
Oh
and
yeah,
you don't see nothing going on. They're all how many again talking about shooting up things. How many places did Obama blow up with drones? I mean,
he killed more
yeah,
than Trump by far, and including some
3,500,
Americans that were involved there with some of the strikes that Obama put out there. Yeah.
and he also blew up a wedding.
I
Did you
don't
know that?
remember that one, no, but
Yeah, yeah. He shot up a wedding. He shot up a wedding. So did Bush.
nobody was talking about due process in Obama.
Right.
Yeah,
Or Bush. How many people that Bush killed?
I
They're not talking about. They're talking about and it come out. It was the admiral that gave the order with Pete and his boats.
and I don't think that admiral's gonna have any problems. I mean, he was given a mission to destroy it,
Uh huh.
and that's what he did,
And they said that they could see these guys trying to save the payload, the drugs.
probably.
So
Well, and
I think
and that's it's really they're at war there. I mean, they've declared war on those terrorists, but
yeah,
they've labeled them terrorists, the drug smugglers, because of how many people they've killed in the United States, and lest we forget that, hundreds of
yeah.
thousands.
Wasn't it Nancy Reagan, war on drugs? She the one that started war on drugs?
Yeah, just say no.
Yeah, just say no,
Mhm.
and then we continue to war on drugs,
Right.
and now that somebody's doing something about it,
What is it? Yeah, it tells you we don't know how to fight a war, is what it tells you.
yeah,
Trump
yeah,
has a better idea about fighting a war, what it's all about, is making
and,
more impact. But we say war on drugs at the same time. A lot of the guys that say it are probably buying them.
yeah. Well, the bottom line is what's it called, Russ? Supply and demand,
Well,
right?
yeah, but they also when it's so full in our streets, it creates a demand. You get it
Right.
off the streets, the demand goes away with it. If there's a big penalty, the demand goes down. It's never going to disappear to zero. Hadn't disappeared in zero in Saudi Arabia, but you get killed if you're involved in it.
Oh yeah, if
Uh,
you get caught, you get caught in Saudi Arabia stealing. What do? Get your right hand?
I think, I mean, definitely have heard of that. That's part of that Sharia law thing. But
Right.
yeah, they
And that,
are stoned to death or something for adultery. Yeah.
yeah, you cut your right hand that way. You have to wipe your butt and eat the same hand.
Well,
So that's
it's
what it
terrible,
is.
terrible punishment. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, tough, and they don't have the drug problem we've got in Saudi Arabia. Guarantee you.
Oh, well, what was it? Was it Hungary or one of them that they legalized drugs at one time? Thought that was gonna save the whole country. All
Yeah,
of a sudden, they have a
yeah,
huge
a lot of European companies have come back, and like Amsterdam and stuff have
yeah, Amsterdam. That's what,
yeah,
right?
they've come back on them because it was destroying parks and recreational areas, and you couldn't let your kids go out and play and all that stuff. Needles sticking out of trees, because the drug users were not necessarily the cleanest people around, and
Right.
so they've really pushed it in. They still have some of that, but they pushed it into certain buildings, and then
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can't destroy it for everybody else.
All right. Well, look at we have Tucson now. It's a misdemeanor to do drugs
Yeah.
in public. The homeless.
Oh,
It's
really?
a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
Yeah, misdemeanor. The city council voted on it that it'd be a high misdemeanor if you're using drugs in the streets.
See, all
So,
everybody in Tucson has to do is have their driver's license address changed to homeless, and then they're
yeah,
okay.
yeah. And we saw that from the '60s in San Francisco.
Hmm.
I remember because used to live there
Uh-huh.
in the Bay Area, and I seen it turn from the hippie culture, psychedelics,
Oh,
to heroin and speed, crystal meth in the '70s.
yeah.
That's what you call San Francisco. But anyway, I still like to see more on. Well, we got an attorney general, which I don't understand.
What don't you
Right?
understand? Uh-huh. What is you don't understand?
How she can be elected to be attorney general without being a lawyer of any type?
Who, Pam Bondi?
No. Arizona's attorney general.
Ours. I was like, wow. Yeah. She's
May?
not a lawyer. Yeah, Chris Mays. She's not a
Yeah, she's not a
lawyer.
lawyer. I don't think so. This is your guy that you had on the radio the other day.
Rodney
Didn't he say
Glassman.
that? Yeah. Didn't he
No,
say
no,
she?
no, no. He's talking about his opponent coming up that just passed the bar like a year ago, but's never done a case.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think
Okay.
Chris Mays got to be a lawyer. I would think.
You would think attorney general has to be a lawyer.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I would hope so. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was Rodney Glassman, who is a JAG officer and he's had hundreds, thousands of cases.
Right. Yeah, I know that. So how was that yesterday? Was it pretty good?
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of attendance, but it was really good. But it was in the afternoon at 3 o'clock, so it's not easy. But and they were in town for multiple events, so they had another one to go to right away. So they were just out seeing as many people as they can because Tom Horn was there also, our
Right.
Secretary of Public Instruction.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it's always good to see him, and these guys are fully engaged in the campaign, fully engaged in just checking what needs to be done, what needs to be said, where do I need to go, asking questions as much as they're answering them.
Right. And it's midterm type thing, and the governorship of the state of Arizona. Boy, I tell you what, we need to pay attention.
Yeah, we
We
do.
need to pay attention. Now we have Biggs and what's her name? Robertson.
Karen Robertson. Yeah, Robertson. Karina
Yeah,
Robertson. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, there's more than that, but those are the two most noteworthy at the top of the polls right now.
Yeah.
Would be with those two.
Yeah. And like I said, the problem that we have right now, a lot of people hate. They're voting against Trump. Is what they're doing. They're not voting against our candidates. They're voting against Trump, and
that's been for a while now.
Yeah, and that's scary. That's
Yeah,
scary.
it is.
So I'm out of here, Russ. You have a
Thank you,
good
sir.
one.
You too, man. Bye bye. I'll be right back. AM 560.
With partly cloudy skies today, 68 the afternoon high, 10 to 15 mile per hour north winds today. Partly cloudy and 44 tonight. 69 and sunny on Friday with 10-mile-per-hour winds out of the north and clear at 45 on Friday night. Warmer on the weekend.
The Great American RV Roadshow Super Sale is going on now through Sunday at the Yuma Fairgrounds.
This holiday season, treat yourself to the gift of travel and save with aggressive end-of-season clearance prices.
For the first time ever, explore millions of dollars of new and used inventory at one of the world's largest traveling RV sales.
Deals this big move fast, and so should you.
RVs cost less at the Great American RV Roadshow Super Sale.
Now through Sunday at the Yuma County Fairgrounds. Parking and admission are free. Presented by RV Country.
Hey, you want to give the gift they'll actually use this holiday? Peace of mind. Give the people in your life something that will protect them. Go to byrna.com today. They are the world leader in less lethal personal defense. It's compact, it's concealable, it's powerful. The newest burner compact fits in a pocket, a purse, while delivering real stopping power for up to 60 feet away. I carry one every day. I recommend every family have a burner, every person have one. Now, it fires potent, kinetic, and aerosol rounds that can stop any attacker in their tracks for up to 40 minutes. It's legal in all 50 states. You don't need a background check. It ships right to your door. Burner gives both the gift giver and the recipient peace of mind, not just for the holidays, but all year round and for many years to come. Protect your loved ones. Safety is priceless. Visit byrna.com today and find the right launcher for you and your family. That's byrna.com.
AM 560 KBLU, Russ Clark back with you. And I have George Braun in 35-degree weather out of Washington, D.C. on the phone. Good morning,
Oh, if it was that warm. It's colder than that. It's in the 20s.
Hey,
And we got snow coming tomorrow. And so,
it's going to get colder. I know. Yeah.
Oh, man. By the way, I was just listening to that commercial for that weapon that you can use and everything. By the way, if a Christmas tree falls and no one can hear it, does it make a sound?
No.
Meow.
To what now?
Meow.
Meow. What do you mean by meow? I don't understand.
The cat got in the tree.
Oh, get out of here. Oh, that's
Anyway,
usually what it is. I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, hey, I sent you a picture of Governor Haley Barbour.
Okay.
Ran into him last night at the Southern Energy Party at the Union Station.
All right.
Now, if you like to eat, this is the party to go to because
I'm fond of it.
Southern.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all Southern food. Shrimp and grits and great tenderloin and chicken and gumbo and bananas foster. And they were walking around giving out milkshakes. And I mean, it was just a wonderful spread. And the place was packed. It was, there must have been 30 congressmen. I counted 12 senators walking around. And I mean, they throw this every year, and it's one of the best ones. And
you tend to find the foodie places for sure. I think that's on
well,
your
if you're not
calendar.
drinking, you gotta do something at these parties.
Yeah, put on some,
and eating is the best way to go. So, I mean, they had shish kebabs and they had all kinds of really good stuff, and then the desserts were just insane. It was just wonderful. Anyway, but I get to do something that I really love this week.
Other than eating, okay.
Tonight there's another party we got to go to.
All right.
But I got a friend coming in from Yuma, and so never been to Washington D.C. before.
Uh-oh.
So I contacted the congressman and said, I'm going to need a staffer or two to do a staff-led tour at 1:00 on Friday. And of course, the chief of staff looks up and goes, on one condition.
Uh-oh.
We can throw a couple other people with you because, I mean, and seriously, because you've written up more history about Washington, D.C. in your column and everything else than most people even know. And so, I mean, there's all kinds of trivia that that nobody else does. And I said, "Oh yeah, sure. The more, the merrier."
So who is this guest out
Um,
of Yuma? Somebody I know?
no,
Oh, okay.
but anyway, but it's going to be a lot of, and I'm looking forward to it. I haven't done a tour in a long time,
Oh, you're
and
gonna go along.
well, no, that's part of the deal is I have to go because
Okay.
I'm the one with all the knowledge of where all the weird stuff that where the ghost cat is,
Yeah,
and
I believe that. Yeah, you would know where the weird is for sure.
I mean where the bathtubs are in it, and
There's
the
bathtubs in the
story
Senate.
the story about the real story about the big giant chandelier. No, Jackie Kennedy did not bring it, and where it really came from.
Okay.
So I mean, it was moved from one house to another house that both were pretty much the same kind of houses.
Hey,
So anyway,
have you gone into the White House to see the new Christmas decorations by Melania Trump yet? Have you been?
no, we're trying to set that up for Saturday morning,
Okay.
and so I've already got phone calls in to do that. But man, from what I understand, it is something else. She really just outdid herself and went back to it's traditional that the progressives got all upset about that. That it's not there isn't trans people running around and showing off their private parts.
Huh.
So I mean, people don't understand when you go back to the old way of whatever, uh, taking care of making sure that it goes back to classic stuff. And Michael Steele was all upset. Well, he's making it into a bordello, and I'm going, no, he's not, Michael. For God's sakes, he's putting money in, which is one of the things nobody has done.
Oh,
And since Jimmy Carter was the last president where we put money into the White House to upgrade it,
with the
and then
solar panels, you mean? He put the solar panels on it and all
no, but put some other money into
that?
it.
Okay.
Uh, um, Obama used tax money, about 31 million, to do. The only thing that really came out of it was there was a basketball court at it. But when Trump won, this was a brilliant. They came in and they called in all the guys that actually worked there, people to keep the place together with duct tape and baling wire and whatever else. And he brought in his crews and said, "Okay, we got 28 days to do this. We're going to Trump organization will donate the labor so we can do 3 8-hour shifts. I'll put your families up at the resort, the Trump resort." And he goes, "Now here's how it's going to work. You're the guy who's the head plumber. You're the guy who's the head carpenter. You're the head electrician. You're the head, uh, you know, main guy who fixes things. What's wrong with this place?" And they were able to go through all of it, and they told him, there's a leak here. There's
Oh yeah.
this joist needs to go through.
Well,
Blah blah
patchwork.
blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he goes, "Okay, so let's just fix it." And they took it down to stone, and then rebuilt all the stuff.
Well, they put in
Now,
new.
of course,
They ran new wires and stuff too. Updated the service. It was apparently in bad
not
shape.
just new wires, they put in fiber optics.
Plumbing. So yeah.
New Wi-Fi, and of course they found over 500 listening devices going back past Eisenhower.
Oh, did they?
Uh, oh yeah, and you can see them.
I
They're
don't
all
doubt
over
it.
at the international. They're all over at the International Spy Museum.
See that they should have saved them. Those are national treasures. Yes.
Yeah, so it was really funny because of the fact that when they came back in, the first thing they had to go was to Resolute death and have it redone because Elon pointed out when he ran a thing over it that there were listening devices
In the Resolute
in,
desk.
yeah,
Wow.
in the office. So the Biden administration had put in, or whoever during that time had put in new listening devices before the Trump came back. So they went through and cleaned it all out. So much more went in. they said that the Resolute desk needed to be revarnished, but everybody knew what was really going on. So anyway, but it's been a lot of fun to watch all of this go on, and uh, I had a meeting with Brooke Rollins this week because of the fact of SNAP benefits, and that's the biggest thing right now is all the red states immediately turned over all their data.
Right.
But all the blue states said, no, we're not going to give you any of our data.
Well,
Because,
and I think that's fine. But then we just shouldn't reimburse anything from the federal government, which if they're not going to give it, it should be required.
well, it's not. This is a volunteer program. It's not it's not like an entitlement from.
Well,
The original idea of the SNAP program was to increase demand for agricultural products.
correct. There's rules. There's rules in place. They can't go to illegals, and
And
they're not,
and
and they get reimbursed from the federal dollars. If it's federal dollars, then yeah, they should have to get held to their feet to the fire to follow the rules.
well, not just that, but we found all these dead people on the rolls.
Oh, I wouldn't even think they're hungry.
People who had 6 or 7, you know, uh, 6 or 7, 8 different people on one Social Security number.
Well,
I mean,
a lot of that came to light when there was 42 million people when they announced 42 million people on SNAP, and I know everybody looked around and said 42 million, and I'll bet by the end of the year there's going to be less than that.
well, you remember Scott Falconer, who ran the Capitol? We had him on a couple of times, and Scott, his first day of work when he started at the Capitol, announced that the first payday everybody had to show up because he wanted to shake their hand, and he cut his payroll by 38%.
Get out of here! Really? They just didn't exist or didn't want to come in,
They didn't exist. They were ghost people or whatever.
but they got checks. Somebody got.
And well, not even checks. What they do is they just directly put it in somebody's account,
Right,
and that's the problem. And so one of the things now is that okay, well, if you want SNAP benefits in your state, then you've got to contact us. And so they're going, well, no, we can go to Congress over that one. And they go, no, you can't, because the United States Department of Agriculture, came up with this idea. It came out of our coffers originally, and I mean, and it's gone, gone completely out of what it is. But when they went to the EBT thing, where you got a credit card instead of the food stamps,
right?
Because originally it was a stamp, a little looked like a little check.
I remember.
And so the thing is that, well, they said that looks horrible that people have to pull that out.
Oh, it's a stigma. People will think I'm poor if I have that. Yeah.
Right. So they came up with the idea you got a little card, but then all of a sudden that little credit card would work pretty much anywhere.
Sure.
And they found out that they were used in strip clubs and places where you could get your nails done.
You can buy buffalo wings at a strip club. At least I've been told that.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been to a strip club in quite a while. But one of the things is that one of the funniest things that came out of it was I actually know somebody who was involved with, because one of the big problems with Magic Mountain in California and not very far was they allowed EBT. And so the gang members of families would use them, to get food and drinks and everything else when they went to whatever the park was. And that brought in an element that was against, the nice family element, and that's when all of a sudden we had all the fights and stuff like that, and riots and stuff on 4th of July or whatever it was. And so quite a few of the the smart people who ran these amusement parks, whatever they were, decided that, well, we're just not going to have EBT on our thing. And they go, well, we're going to lose a lot of money. And they go, yeah, but not really that much. So, and they were very, very happy with the results because all of a sudden that element that would come in and cause problems didn't come because, they could use their EBTs to pay for everything.
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know. Every time I look at one of these parks nowadays, I remember growing up in LA when I was a kid, and Chevron was my father worked for Ortho Chevron, and one of the things was so we got a special deal on Disneyland tickets because one of the original franchisees for Disneyland was Chevron Oil, and so one of the things was we always got so Dad we had the books of the what an e-ticket, the original meaning for an e-ticket was it was the best ticket, the one that would go on the Matterhorn.
Sure. Space Mountain.
On the, yes, or on the Pirates of the Caribbean or the Haunted Mansion or something like that. And so the thing is that, then they went to just one payment.
Yeah.
But the prices on these things, it's just astronomical.
I couldn't even tell you what it costs to get in Disneyland, but I hear it's a lot. I haven't been in many, many years. Yeah.
Well, God, a friend of mine actually, he said he goes, it would have been cheaper to take the family to Europe instead of taking them. He goes, gosh, I couldn't believe how much this was.
Yeah.
And then you throw in the princesses and and all the other little wackadoodle things that you do, and it's like, gosh almighty, So anyway, but we're going to have a great time, and I'm looking forward to doing the tour again. And anybody who's ever actually gone on the tour with me always says that it's one of those fun things to do. And I actually pulled out the books yesterday and made sure I had it a little bit back. Remember some of the ones that I thought were brand new that I hadn't known about, that I'd looked up before for when I was writing up the thing for the radio. So it should be a great time, even though it's going to be freezing cold here. And so I can just imagine.
Wear a jacket, man. You'll be fine.
Yeah, jacket. No, you're in long underwear. You're thermals, and
your underwear has
long,
batteries. All right, good.
And the long coat, and and luckily I have the really great crushable hats that I got from Village Hat Shop in San Diego. By the way, if you ever really want great hats, those guys have the best ones, and they're all waterproof. And then whenever I get them, I just soak them in the whatever the anti
Scotch
water.
Brite or Scotch Guard. Scotch Guard. Yeah,
Scotch
that's
Guard.
what it is. Yeah.
And I Scotch Guard the crud out of them. It was a friend of mine one time was standing in the rain, and everybody goes, "You're going to ruin your hat." He goes, "I know where I got this hat. I got it from George Braun, and he Scotch Guarded the heck. It'll be fine."
You probably sit on it and float. All right, buddy. Take care, man.
He said, I tipped my hat, and I was like George Bailey, in It's a Wonderful Life, where all the water comes off. Anyway, you guys have a great weekend, and try to stay warm out there.
See you, George. Take care.
Yeah.
That's George Bronner, Washington Bureau Chief. Of course, lives in Georgetown there in D.C., where it's cold. We'll be right back.
The Christmas Carol, a simple story that captures our images of Christmas. More in a moment.
Ed Whitehead's Tire Pros has been serving Arizona for over 20 years. Dune season is here, so ask about specialty tires for your toys. We also do alignments, brakes, oil changes, AC work, inspections, preventive maintenance, and more. Get your tires at any of our 4 Ed Whitehead's Tire Pros locations. Ed Whitehead's Tire Pros wishes you all a happy holiday season. From our family to yours. And cheers to a safe and prosperous 2026. Ed Whitehead's Tire Pros. Yeah, we got tires for that.
The Christmas Carol is an enduring classic, but for Charles Dickens, it was a story written out of necessity. Dickens had written the first part of a serial story that was
poorly received by the critics. Frustrated and broke, Dickens walked the streets of London composing A Christmas Carol, the story of Scrooge and Tiny Tim that has become a holiday tradition.
'Tis the season for cozy nights, holiday movies, and full houses. To make sure your internet can keep up, Allo Fiber brings you lightning fast 100% fiber optic internet that doesn't slow down when everyone's home for the holidays. Check them out at allofiber.com.
Life moves fast, and sometimes your mind needs a moment to catch up. At Onvita Health, we're making mental health care easier to reach because asking for help shouldn't feel like the hardest step. More psychiatrists, a new inpatient facility, intensive outpatient therapy. Because when care is within reach, brighter days are just ahead. Here's to better tomorrows. Here's to life. Learn more at onvitahealth.org/behavioral health.
Listen to KBLU from 8 to 9 every Monday morning to Life, Death, and the Law. Sean Gold and Adam Hansen discuss estate planning options. Learn how you can plan your estate using a will or trust to protect your family and secure your legacy. That's Life, Death, and the Law every Monday, 8 to 9 a.m. on 560 KBLU.
AM 560 KBLU, Russ Cark with you. It's 6:56. I got a few minutes. I looked up Disneyland. I'm just curious what it would cost. It says $104 to $224, and that's going to depend on the time of year. So if you want to go on a popular day, it's $224. Off day, $104. Somewhere there's a scale goes in between. Now that only includes Disneyland. That's per person now. That's not for a family. If you want to go back and forth between California Adventure and Disneyland, which they call a hopper ticket, it's an extra $70 to $90. So I guess it could be like $300 a piece on a busy day, and you want a hopper ticket. $300 a piece, a family of four, it adds up pretty quickly, and that's not even including. I don't think you get a free breakfast with that. I don't think so. I think, and I don't believe the meals are going to be cheaper in the park than they are downtown. I don't. I think you're in for a ride. It's going to be expensive, and nobody goes for one day, do they? You know, you go to Disneyland, you go for a few days, so you're going to spend a little bit of money. December 4th, 1783, which today's December 4th. It's the anniversary of George Washington, General George Washington. I get this from my fact checker, Edward, too. He sent this to me. He gathered his officers at a tavern in New York City. He informed them of his plans to resign his commission and retire to civilian life. Now, that was before he was recruited to stand for election as the first president of the United States under the U.S. Constitution. Yeah, there were a few presidents anyway before the Constitution. We don't count them. George Washington is our first, but there was a time frame. I think it was 10 years. Was it 10 years that we had won the war? And we operated under Articles of Confederation with presidents that were there for 1 year, I think. But I can't tell you who the names are. Nobody remembers. George Washington was our first. I guess that would infuriate some of the people that came before that. But it wasn't really the United States at that time. It was just Articles of Confederation as we were getting things together. It's top of the hour, or real close to it. I'm going to take a break, and we'll be back. AM 560, KBLU.
There's a man in D.C. He stands 6'3". He's fighting for you. He's fighting for me. He'll drain that swamp, just like he said. He'll make America great again. So get on that train. play with him. He'll stand up for you. And the red, white, and blue.
This is News Talk 560 KBLU, Yuma. This is a Fox News alert. Almost 5 years long man is over. I'm Dave Anthony. On the main suspected of planting bombs in Washington the day before the infamous Capitol riot. The arrest was in Virginia. Federal law enforcement sources tell Fox they've captured the man they believe placed pipe bombs near both the Republican and Democratic National Committee headquarters in Washington, D.C. on the night of January 5th, 2021. The devices were found the next afternoon while they were storming the Capitol. They did not detonate. No one was hurt, but the FBI said they could have been lethal. All the public has seen of the suspect is grainy videos and wearing a hoodie, gloves, and face mask. That's Fox's Chris Foster. Navy Admiral, who ordered a controversial attack goes to Capitol Hill next hour. There's a lot of questions about the operation of the Venezuela blowing up boats, trafficking illegal drugs, killing dozens of so-called narco terrorists. President Trump supports it.
Whoever violated those boats, they guilty of trying to kill people in our country.
Admiral Mick Bradley will do private briefings for House and Senate committees focused on a second bombing on one boat targeting those who survived the first one.
The September 2nd strike was the first of more than 20 attacks on alleged drug smuggling boats over the past 3 months. War Secretary Pete Hegseth says he saw that first strike live, but was not informed of the follow-on strike until hours later that killed the initial 2 survivors.
Fox's Lucas Tomlins and Luigi Mangione will soon return to court in New York City a year to the day after the murder he's charged in the shooting of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. As a pretrial hearing continues, earlier this week, Fox's TV Con reports Mangiane's arrest in a Pennsylvania McDonald's days later was in focus.
Body camera footage played in court showed the moment officers decided to detain Mangione and read him his Miranda rights about 20 minutes after he was first approached. More body camera footage played in court showed officers searching the backpack where prosecutors say a gun, a silencer, and a notebook of writings was found.
Mangiane's lawyer trying to get the evidence excluded in his trial because he was obtained before he read his rights. Americans listening to Fox News.
At Progressive, we know business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money, getting discounts with a commercial auto code from Progressive.
Also, your favorite employees for the day. They're going to pursue their dream of being a fire engineer.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
This is the time of the year most of us are checking off our holiday gift list. Identity thieves have lists too, and your personal information might be on that list. Protect your identity with LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every single second and alerts you to the threats you could miss yourself. If your identity is stolen, your own U.S.-based restoration specialist is going to work to fix it. Guaranteed or your money back. Make the season about joy, not identity theft, with LifeLock. Save up to 40% off your first year at LifeLock.com with the promo code BECK.
From the News 11's Information Desk, I'm Gina Aguilera. A local organization is collecting hands to give to all local heroes in our area. The Hands for Heroes drive encourages people to donate hands that will go to firefighters, police, veterans, and anyone else who's a hero. The event is being put on by K9 Ops Foundation. The drive is happening next Monday, December 8th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at East Foothills Walmart. Plus, put a smile on kids' faces this holiday season with our Holiday Magic Toy Drive. Toy donations are down this year, potentially leaving hundreds of children in need without a gift from Santa. As we're teaming up with the Salvation Army to make Christmas a little brighter. We need your help collecting new toys. The toy drive will be next Friday, December 12th from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Pacific Avenue Walmart. Head to the TV set on News 11 every day at 5, 6, and 10 p.m. for your latest local news, weather, and sports.
We've become experts. People you can trust as our customers. That's why they count on us. Over 50 years of service. Keep us going strong. We've got a name you can depend upon. Hamburg Refrigeration. And Hamburg. Count on us.
There's a man in D.C. He stands 6'3". He's fighting for you. He's fighting for me. He'll bring that on time.
Hey, I'm 560.
You, Russ Cark, with you. It's National Cookie Day. That's 7:05. National Cookie Day. I don't know who does that. I did. They just get together, conglomeration cookie people, pick a day. It's National Cookie Day. There's some free bargains out there. Not a lot. There's Dairy Queen. That through December 7th, if you prefer cookie crumbles and an ice cream drink, you can get a free mini frosted sugar cookie blizzard or any other mini blizzard on December 4th with the purchase of a signature stack burger combo or 6-piece chicken strip. So you got to buy something, get a free drink. And if you're on the DEQ rewards program, you get $3 off of any small blizzard. There you go. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Hey, Russ.
Good morning, sir.
So the latest tit for tat chat I got into with someone this morning is regarding the waste of money to go after these narco boats.
What do you mean?
And the dude was complaining that the aircraft carriers and all the military might that's being used, what, $1 million a pop for each missile, plus.
Are they using missiles? Is that what they're using?
Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
All I know is there's getting crap blown up out of the water, and I don't think it's just helicopters running them down and strafing them.
No. But they got artillery. They can shoot a 3-inch gun into that ship.
I know you said that the other day. Artillery is land based.
Well,
if you have
okay.
A gun on a boat, you don't call it artillery.
Well, I call it. I'm sorry. It's a gun. It's a gun. They got a 3-inch gun.
I got you.
Yeah.
And
I'm amazed at what they can
using.
do. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what they're using.
That'd be a lot cheaper than $1 million missile.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I don't know where he's getting his facts and figures and amounts from, but he was, my usual when I'm bored, I like to watch people's heads explode over politics and religion and whatnot on Facebook. So I got after him, and he finally gave up. He hasn't answered. But I asked him, well, what about the cost? I asked him, have you ever heard about the opium wars? What about the cost that the economy is suffering because of all the drugs being brought in? And I know that as long as there's demand, there's going to be supply, but that doesn't mean we need to sit back and just let them at it and have free reign of pumping fentanyl and whatnot into our country.
Yeah.
And he shut up real quick after that.
Now, are these customers? Are these people you're delivering to? You should just always. You got to agree with customers.
No. They aren't chatting. These are groups or pages that I subscribe to or follow. The ones like the Common Sense Conservative, or what's the other one? Angry something against libtards, and that's the kind of place where I had going through my feeds. But I also have Baby Yoda and other funny stuff that comes in to my phone as well. But I do enjoy. I'll send you a meme here in a little bit. Gotta take a picture of this Starbucks order. But it's Ron White meme, and Facebook is getting after him for well, the meme is supposedly he's getting taken to task because of offensive dialogue.
He's a comedian. He's allowed to be offensive.
Dude, I told you it's a meme. and the writing on the meme, which is probably not even a direct quote from him, anyways. But he says, "Why do I do this? Mainly because, well, no, partly because I'm an asshole, but mainly because I love watching people's heads explode over silly little things, and I also get that type of entertainment, I guess, when I'm bored."
Yeah, he's a funny guy. Yeah.
Yep. Yes. All right. Well,
take care, man. Go take your pictures.
I hope they go shoot up some more boats, and I don't know how they're recruiting for those drivers, but
getting them out of Colombia apparently.
Yeah, wherever.
Well, that's what one family says. They lost one of their children just doing his job. He was just doing his job. Well, what was his job, man? All right. Thank you, man. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Okay, I had to look it up, say what the Navy's using. Apparently, the Navy's not telling us completely, but this article goes into some of the costs and stuff. And yeah, it's expensive to run a military. We have no choice but to run it. As long as we've got a military, you might as well use it for where they've been. One Hellfire missile will cost $150,000. Reaper drones cost about $3,500 per hour just to fly them. Of course, they can shoot the missile. An F-35 costs $40,000 an hour. That's a lot. $40,000 an hour to fly the plane. See, an AC-130 gunship is not public. Its predecessor, AC-130U, which is phased out, cost over $40,000 per hour to fly. I didn't know the gunship. But I would think that 3-inch gun on the front of those missile destroyers would take that out handily. You wouldn't need to have a $150,000 missile go do it. And they got to practice firing those things anyway. You just call it practice. I started talking about National Cookie Day. Phone lines are open. Dairy Queen has an issue. They're not giving stuff away too much. 7-Eleven, which you don't think of as Cookie Day, whatever. Any hot coffee through January 6th and a breakfast sandwich for $2. National Cookie Day, you can get a cookie for $1. Offer good for single bakery cookies only and does not apply to mini cookie packs while supplies last. Most of these businesses, Crumbie, Dirty Dough, well, Dunkin' rewards, we got those. Dunkin'. Members get 3 times the points on all espresso beverages on National Cookie Day. Yeah, don't ignore that. Get your points in. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Russ. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Carl. Good morning.
Good morning. With those boats in the water,
Yeah.
in the military, we call that live practice, sir.
Live practice, is that what they call it? Live practice?
Well, hell yeah. You want to make sure your stuff works.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's a good way to know that it's all working.
Well, it works. That's what we the people pay for is good stuff that works.
Well,
it
and
does.
it's keeping those drugs off the shore. That's good.
Well, we'll keep the drugs out of our children too, doesn't it?
That's right.
And it keeps it out of our parents. Hell, it keeps it out of our grandparents too. So
yeah.
And it really amazes me that people are ditching because Pete Hagshaft is stopping them from killing our children and us. And that's exactly what he's doing. And then they're bitching at him.
Well, there's many people on the left that feels it's their job to destroy anything Trump touches so they can get power back. They want power back. Whatever the cost. They don't care what it costs our kids. They don't care what it costs us. They just got to destroy Trump to stop him from making things better because they would rather have power and control. And they call him the king, and he's the one that's giving it back to us.
Yes. And what's really scary, the Democrats, now what they're doing, they're in our backyard, and they're going to put a full force against Michelle Pena.
I would imagine so. They did last time, and it didn't work for them.
Well, the reason it didn't work last time is because they split their vote. and that gave us enough votes from the Republicans to put her in the seat.
Well, that's Republicans that did that, not Democrats.
No, well, yes, but now what we have is we are having the Democrats paying some Republicans to run against Michelle Pena to split our vote.
Well, yes, and they're allowed to do it. It's unfortunate.
Yes. Well, no, that's exactly what's happening, and it's all legal to do. But it makes and that's how we're going to lose it. That's how we lose our seat in the House.
I'm not giving up on it, Carl.
Oh, no, wait a minute, Russ. I am not giving up. I'm just trying to explain what they're doing.
Oh, I
There's
know.
no way in the hell I'm going to give up because we worked too hard to put Michelle Pena in there. I will never give up.
Good.
But I don't mind telling you how they're doing it.
Well, they're doing it to cause a problem, and it doesn't mean that seat's lost. We're not going to lose it.
Well, it's not, but it can be very easily. That's the problem. And so what the Republicans are going to have to do is be very careful and watch that seat and make sure that it is not taken away from us by not have what are we 2-1 in that district when votes?
I don't know the exact breakdown between Democrats and Republicans in that district, but the Democrats have a majority. Absolutely. But all we can do is be aware there's going to be two people in the race and do our best. That's all.
Well, no, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Because I can see what they're doing, it makes me work harder for Michelle Pena.
Good.
That's the whole secret I'm trying to say to everybody is we know how they're going to try to do it, but we have to stop them from doing it, and that's by just single-shotting Michelle Pena.
Yeah. Well,
that's how we don't lose we don't go blue in Arizona.
I don't think we're going to lose.
Well, I know we're not.
Okay.
I know we're not, but and then the reason I know we're not is because people got to come and help me single shot Michelle Pena. They can. That's how we save the seat.
Well, we can't single shot if there's two people in it.
Well, if you only vote for one, that doesn't get the other one to vote.
Okay. Oh, you mean don't give it to them? I mean, okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Tell the voters don't vote for both.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you vote for both, you just nailed your. That's what they're planning on doing is pulling that second vote to somebody else and give them enough to lose the seat. But if everybody votes for Michelle, she doesn't lose the seat.
Yeah. All right, buddy.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye. That was Carl, who supports Michelle Pena. and you should. I think that's a great thing to support, actually. Phone lines are open, 928-344-5258. There was a watchdog that was for 2 decades called Seeger that was watching Afghanistan. I'll tell you some reports after this phone call. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
We're doing well, Ted. Good morning.
Did you see the moon last night, this morning?
Yeah, it wasn't quite full moon, but it looked nice.
Oh, it was beautiful, like a big silver dollar.
Okay, good. I liked it.
Saved me on electric fee.
Oh, really? You can read by the moonlight.
Oh, yeah. I got bad eyes.
All right.
Yeah, I got bad eyes. But, yeah, we got to do something around here. The price of electricity is out of control.
Not yet, but it's getting there. It's going to keep going up. The APS is controlled by the Corporation Commission. The Corporation Commission has to look at that before they approve any rate changes. But they can't let the business go under. They got to keep, because they're a monopoly. So it's always a balancing act, and the Corporation Commission pulls things off all the time. Says we're not going to pay for that, we're not going to pay for that, take that out, that kind of stuff. But it's expensive. It is, and I think as solar power has gone up, APS has still got to make their money. The rest of us pay more. if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
I made my political phone calls yesterday to a couple of state offices over this to see if we can get any action on it. But I think some people here in the state are pandering to a certain businesses.
What action would you like to be taken?
Reduce my cost of electricity and my real estate taxes. You may call me cheap, but that's me. I'm
Well,
part Scotch.
They have no control over APS other than allowing or not allowing them the rate increase, but they can't cripple a company. We'd be in worse shape if they went under. But yeah, there's a limit, but they need to open up. The cost of power is something Trump's working on.
I need my pocket reactor.
A pocket reactor would be nice. In fact, put one in your yard.
I got one. I told you to come by and look at it.
I don't think it's true.
But yeah. But I wanted everybody to you were talking about George Washington and everything this morning. The first invasion of our country began back then when we were trying to snatch this up from the French.
What?
And,
in 1783?
1754.
Oh, 1754.
This was the first correlation of what's going on right now. When they were trying to get the French under control. But that's where he started out with his great loss at Fort de Goose. I guess that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, he got his butt kicked, I think.
Yeah,
I know.
But he went on and he pursued.
Yeah, he learned,
persevered through it.
He learned from it.
But yeah, that was a big thing back then. The British against the French, and they were using the Indians to, run the gamut here.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a question. Next time you talk to George, ask him when when they allow him to enter the White House, to look in the lost and found and see if my 3/8 Snap-on ratchet's in there. I dropped it by the East Portico working on a Takeuchi.
3/8 Snap-on wrench?
Yeah.
Socket wrench?
3/8
Okay.
drive, yeah. 3/8 ratchet.
I'll have him check that out. I'm sure Secret Service has looked it over already and find out no danger.
Well, they checked me at the airport one time there at Dulles for I had a 3/8 extension and a 3/8 ratchet and a spark plug socket in there. They asked me, "What's that?" On the X-ray, I said, "My tools."
Yeah. Well, because you're a construction guy, yeah, you need tools. I imagine you go through security though at some of those places, right? They check that out.
Oh yeah, most of the forts there around Maryland, D.C., and Virginia, Man, I told you about the dogs when I went out to Fort Detrick.
Oh.
I had all the time. I had to open all the drawers in the truck, the passenger, all that stuff, right? So I had my lunch sitting on the front seat, and the German Shepherd jumps up in the truck and starts eating my lunch. And I told the son, I said, "Get him off of there." And he goes, "He's hungry."
Will that work for you?
What?
That he's hungry?
Hey, I wasn't going to reach in there and grab that bag away from that dog. Shit.
All right, man. Take care, buddy.
Anyway, you have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Question from Melanie. She said, what would happen if APS went under? Can small type nuke power be put in Yuma as a competition to APS? I don't have the answers. We have to talk Corporation Commission on that, but they're not going to let APS go under. Even if the government has to come in and take it over or something, it's going to continue to work until they can find another buyer if something like that were to happen. Just like they do for any sort of like, the Far West Water, they weren't going to let that go under. It got sold and then the prices all went up. Yeah, for the sewer and water out there in the foothills. Not a good situation. So if APS went under, we'd probably have to pay more for electricity is what would happen. That would not be good. Would not be good for us. As far as competition, it's a monopoly. I don't know what that would take. We'd have to talk to the Corporation Commission and see if you say, okay, I'm going to buy one of those baby nukes and I'm going to put it in Yuma for all of Yuma and I want APS kicked out and I want to take over all their power lines. I don't think that's a simple process. if it's even available or can happen at all. I have no idea. The Corporation Commission, but something tells me it would be so difficult. Probably wouldn't be an easy task, but one that's profitable. The $148 billion failure, according to the Watchdog cigar, and that's the Special Inspector General for Afghanistan Reconstruction. 17 years they worked. They worked 17 years for tracking every dollar allocated to the country for security, development, humanitarian aid, and as early as 2012, they saw it. That's according to Gene Alios. He's the Inspector General. He's the acting Inspector General. He said in 2012, the office saw signs that the U.S. government military efforts were falling short. A lot of people knew it wasn't working. The war wasn't working. In our quarterly reports, we would report on number of districts falling to the Taliban increasing. Our core reports laid out what was happening, and you could predict the future based on what we were saying. Wow. I mean, we've known they didn't tell us that it was failing. So, it took a decade to get to the White House so that we could withdraw them because it certainly wasn't working. There's a 125 page forensic audit that goes through kind of analysis of all their other thousands of pages that the Afghanistan reconstruction effort, which consumed more money than what was sent to Europe after post-World War II Marshall Plan. And per the 2025 Defense Authorization Act, the office will close on December 31st. I mean, not December, January. So the office is getting ready to close. So they're putting out final reports, wrapping things up, telling us that we spent way too much money in Afghanistan. I know my fact checker sent it to me, this article, which says it was a $148 billion failure. My fact checker says that he has heard, which is something that you can't verify, but it was more like $1 trillion. Well, he goes through some of the things that were tracked that were just wasted. And it's kind of frustrating to know that we pay all those tax dollars and they really just throw money at these things. But the group's independent nature, and he likes that it was independent. In fact, he says that they operated, wherever they wanted to operate, and they were completely independent. They got all the information. But he talks about scrapped aircraft, vacant hotels, corrupt contracts. Since Cigar began its investigation in 2008, the watchdog determined 26 billion to 29 billion, 26 to 29 billion. It's hard to count, I guess. It's not, 1 billion is a lot of money, but the difference between 26 and 29, somewhere in there. The Afghan reconstruction efforts disappeared to waste, fraud, and abuse. So waste, fraud, and abuse took just 26 to 29 billion right off the top, which is unfortunate. A June 2018 report identified that despite spending 7.3 billion on counter drug efforts, the country was still the world's largest opium supplier. And I remember reading about that during the war, that they were doing things to curtail the opium traffic. I didn't realize that they were still the largest supplier after they started to work on it, apparently unsuccessfully. And rampant corruption in the nation's narcotic industry and all that. In 2015, they found that 355 million U.S. aid, of course, they cut U.S. aid out now, or shutting it down, I hope. 355 million U.S. aid power plant was operating at less than 1% of its capacity. They found that, and see, Ted could have that plant. We should send that plant to Ted if they're only using 1% of it. Maybe Ted could make use of it. Next year, I found that 85 million in loans meant to build a hotel and apartment across from the U.S. Embassy in Kabul had not been repaid and had produced only abandoned empty shells. I get from that line that they paid a contractor ahead of time to build a building. They got a shell up and took off with the money. 2008 that's just not a lot of great oversight, is it? 2018 at 486 million for 20 aircraft. They're the G222 aircraft. I think it's made by Fiat. There's 20 of them. In 2018, they were old and being abandoned. They bought 20 of them for the Afghan Air Force. They're cargo planes for $486 million, which is a lot for an airplane that they're finding. It's an old NATO airplane. They built it for that, but it's they found it fell short of operational requirements, and some were collecting dust. Others had been scrapped for as little as 6 cents per pound. So they just weigh the aircraft, give you 6 cents a pound. They were totally retired by 2012. I mean, the Air Force, the Afghan Air Force, is the last to even have any of them. And we paid 486 million for 20 aircraft that couldn't do the job. I don't know who signed off on that contract, but they should be talked to. And that's it. You know, you do this in the private business, and you get arrested. You do it in civil service. I guess you get promoted. Poor quality work by contractors led to deaths, according to Cigar. In 2012, 2 soldiers were killed after an improvised explosive device hidden in a culvert on a frequently used highway detonated. An Afghan-owned construction company's tasked with installing grates over the culverts did not follow the contract specifications, which made them easy to breach and cause the death of these soldiers. You know, they tried to put something in that would deter, and they put in something that helped. Cigar agents helped convict 171 U.S. and Afghan defendants during that time for fraud and abuse and stealing and stuff. Resulted in a 1.7 billion in fines, restitutions, and asset forfeitures. He told reporters, Alios, that the rampant corruption was perhaps the largest factor that undermined the U.S. government's effort in Afghanistan, which I hate reading to you. So our efforts in Afghanistan, according to this report, were the largest factor that undermined us and caused failure. You know, I read about a lot of the Russia corruption and stuff, that it's really tanked them, made them not ready, you know, made a 3-day war into a 3-year war that they're not doing well in. And I thought with it, you know, I think I looked at it a little smug and think, well, we'd never be that stupid. Apparently we are, according to Cigar. That corruption, rampant corruption. And I don't blame it on the Afghanis. You know, we had oversight. It was us. The biggest thing throughout the whole 20-year was corruption. Corruption affected everything. It turned the population against the government that we were trying to build over there. It weakened the armed forces. It weakened everything we tried to do. That's a summation. I think it could have got it down to 1 page instead of 125 pages. I hope we learned something. Something tells me we already knew this. I think it's rampant in the United States right now. It's rampant in Minneapolis. It's rampant throughout the country. And Trump is fighting a bureaucracy that wants to keep it corrupt, that's trying to destroy him every day. Yeah, Mark Kelly's one of them. The major revelations of Cigar: overwhelming number of reconstruction funds being spent on security. Reconstruction, I guess, is the title of the money that they were putting out there with it, spent on security. It is not great that enough attention has been paid to the general public to what was learned there. My main concern is that the whole project of reconstruction was misunderstood by the public as basically humanitarian. 60% of the 148 billion, and that 60% of the 148 billion that was wasted or failure, 60% was security. There was that included materials to the Afghan National Defense and Security Forces, including 96,000 ground vehicles, 51,180 general or light tactical vehicles, 23,825 Humvees, 900 armored combat vehicles, 247,300 weapons, 17,400 helmet-worn night vision, and at least 162 aircraft that we just sent over to the Afghans. And when we evacuated in August there in 21, we left behind, and they're saying 7.1 billion. I never heard a number that high before. I thought it was a couple billion. But they're saying 7.1 billion in equipment that we gave to the Afghanistan National Defense and Security Forces, which of course dissolved immediately after the fiasco withdrawal and is all in possession by the Taliban, which they started selling right away too for cash, which they say thank you, by the way. Sugar was unable to inspect any of the equipment provided, because the Taliban took it over. U.S. taxpayer-funded equipment, weapons, and facilities form the core of the Taliban security apparatus. So we've in essence spent 20 years and lots of lives, at least 148 billion, some say up to $1 trillion, in Afghanistan to help free the people. And all we did was make them mad, show them what corruption really was on steroids, and drive them away. And maybe Taliban looks better to them, which is sad. They've interviewed, and the inspectors have interviewed senior U.S. officials to glean lessons from the 2 decades of involvement in Afghanistan. Several officials pointed to the 2020 Doha Agreement. It's a peace deal negotiated by the Taliban in the first Trump administration, saying it ultimately sealed Afghanistan's fate by undermining the Afghan government's legitimacy and emboldening the Taliban. Carter Malkinson, he's a former special assistant to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, told Sugar in December of 21, my sense was that by 2012, very few people thought the insurgency could be defeated and that we could leave the Afghan government fully in control of things by 2012. Of course, he was wrong. Secretary Pete Hegseth ordered review of the U.S. military withdrawal from Afghanistan. And Eloise told reporters that Sugar has not been asked to support that probe, which I think would be odd, but maybe they don't trust him. Now, he hopes in the future they can create watchdog groups for conflict that would look at just like the Cigar's independent authority as an example, but he remains doubtful it could be recreated. It sounds like it didn't do us any good. I mean, what good did they do us? Let's say these reports are completely accurate, completely good. They watched all the waste, they watched the fraud, they watched the problems. They knew back in 2012, according to Gene Alloys, who was the inspector general, that the government, that it was falling short, that we weren't going to beat the Taliban. They knew in 2012. I'm assuming it's in reports, and I'm assuming it's everywhere, but nobody read them. Nobody believed them. One or the other, I don't know. So what good did it do to have a watchdog? Now, he claims that they were able to recover $1.7 billion in fraud and arrest 171 people. I guess. But we really didn't we didn't save the taxpayers. We didn't save Afghanistan. We're still living with Afghan problems. We got many of them over here that we've imported now that aren't necessarily the best of neighbors, the best of friends. Responsible for killing a couple of National Guardsmen just recently that we brought over. A loss of life in the military. It's just that it wasn't. It looks like we did a mission in Afghanistan that was stated to do one thing, but never really engaged in it. I know Donald Trump, when he first got into office, and he went to Afghanistan, and he was there, and he's talking to generals, and he tells the story quite a bit, that he was asked, well, how long before we can make this happen? I don't know what it was, take a certain area or do something to rout out the Taliban in a certain area, and I guess he was told, like a few years. Well, then he happened to ask another senior officer, and I think it was a general, and he hesitated and had to speak, asked to speak freely. He says, we could do it in a couple days. Well, why are they telling me 3 years? And Trump tells that story at rallies and stuff. And so he moved that general to get it done. And sure enough, he did exactly what he said he could do. Well, all that's been known, that we really weren't doing our best to accomplish the mission for some reason. I'm not military, and I'm not on the ground. I've never been there. But listening to these stories is frustrating for me as a taxpayer. It's frustrating for me as an observer to think we got President Trump in his first term that goes there and say, well, then you take over for that and do it. And they do it. Well, what's holding us back? Is it true, these rumors about the military complex? We just want to keep it rolling. We got to keep these wars going for profit's sake. That we could have done the job that we had planned, that we'd put out, but we end up losing billions and billions of dollars to waste and fraud and hiring somebody's brother as a contractor that can't do the job. I have no idea, but it sounds like we're as bad at this as anybody. Why do we have an inspector general working there, writing all these notes, taking these reports, seeing the fraud, and can't correct it in real time? Like a Doge type thing, like Musk. And Musk upset people. Like the big bureaucracy that's out there that's got their hands in other people's pockets, that's not updating, that's not modernizing, that's keeping the jobs more backwards, to where it takes many personnel to do it. Nobody knows what's going on. Computers don't align themselves. They don't communicate with each other. We got records stored in a salt mine somewhere. Paper records. So, and it doesn't seem like it's doing, and I understand the frustration. And then when leadership comes in like Trump, the pushback is immense. Like, how dare you modify or modernize our policies and our procedures? I mean, real jobs that we lost. Well, those aren't real jobs in that they're not creating wealth. They're not creating anything. They're actually a parasite on the work that's being done and the money that is being created. I mean, government is necessary, but it should be limited. We can't afford to have half the people in the United States in the government, because who's going to create the wealth? Who's going to create products in agriculture? Well, we tie up too much in offices and too much in these NGOs keep growing at 15% per year that really just are parasites. They just live off the taxpayer dollars to give it away and to skim for fraud. And I think if the inspector general was working with the NGOs, he'd find more fraud than we probably found in Afghanistan. And that's just the fraud in a foreign country. I'm sure we've got it much more rampant in the United States, and Minnesota is showing that right now. And I refuse to believe that Minnesota stands alone in it. And that's incompetency at the worst levels. And yet, I doubt that Tim Walz gets voted out by the people in Minnesota, because they're going to be good enough carnies, good enough people to convince their voters it's Trump's fault. why they pocket all the cash and buy extra houses and have a portfolio that grows as fast as Nancy Pelosi's. I'm gonna take a break. We'll be back. AM 560.
Unique individuals, empowering solutions.
The cost of cleaning supplies to clean your office building, $250. The time it takes to dust all offices, sweep walkways, vacuum the carpets, and sanitize the restrooms, 4 hours. Having Achieve Human Services clean your entire office building, including the restrooms, priceless. Achieve Human Services, helping people with unique abilities to realize their greatest potential through employment opportunities. For more information, call Achieve Human Services at 928-341-0335. That's 928-341-0335.
Unique individuals, empowering solutions.
Today, we're talking with aphids and whiteflies about Safina insecticide from BASF. We just got nailed with it. So tell us, how you feeling?
Really, really weird.
And you still want to devour this field?
No way.
There you have it, folks. Safina insecticide is specifically engineered to disorient aphids and whiteflies so they can't eat. And when they can't eat, they can't destroy.
Go protect your alfalfa from aphids with Safina insecticide. Always read and follow label directions.
With partly cloudy skies today, 68, the afternoon high, 10 to 15 mile per hour north winds today, partly cloudy and 44 tonight, 69 and sunny on Friday with 10 mile per hour winds out of the north, and clear and 45 on Friday night, warmer on the weekend.
What's up, Yuma, and hello, Russ Clark Show listeners. Johnny Porter here, and I just made the switch to Aloe Fiber, and it's a game changer. Lightning fast speeds for streaming, working from home, and gaming. No buffering or slowed down speeds. It's time to ditch the glitch and switch to Aloe Fiber.
At Exceptional Community Hospital, we are redefining what emergency care should feel like. Fast, personal, and compassionate. Our experienced ER physicians and staff are here 24/7 to care for your unexpected illness or injury. Don't wait for emergency care when you can be seen in minutes. With short wait times, you'll get the prompt attention you need because every minute matters. And if your recovery takes longer, we provide the inpatient care you deserve. Exceptional Community Hospital. Compassionate care. Exceptional service.
The Great American RV Roadshow Super Sale is going on now through Sunday at the Yuma Fairgrounds.
This holiday season, treat yourself to the gift of travel and save with aggressive end-of-season clearance prices.
For the first time ever, explore millions of dollars of new and used inventory at one of the world's largest traveling RV sales.
Deals this big move fast, and so should you.
RVs cost less at the Great American RV Roadshow Super Sale.
Now through Sunday at the Yuma County Fairgrounds. Parking and admission are free. Presented by RV Country.
Well, it's all fun and games until you're stuck with bad internet. Not so much fun. Say goodbye to bad internet. Say hello to local support from a company that believes in better. Say goodbye to the spinning wheel of doom and the regular equipment rebooting. And say hello to a hassle-free experience. Say goodbye to the internet struggles of yesterday and say hello to a provider that fits our community and provides a product and service that's locally rooted right here in our hometown. Find out more at aloefiber.com. That's aloefiber.com.
There's a man in D.C. He stands
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark with you, and I have a caller on the line. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Russ. Jesse, how you doing, sir?
Doing well, Jesse. Good morning.
Hey, just wanted to talk to you. I don't know if you talk about division. Wanted to talk to you, if I can, about united we stand, divided we fall. Our fathers were real intelligent before us because there's so many nation states around the world. We're an exception. We're an exceptional nation that's united. We're United States, where most states are always in a state of war.
Yeah.
And that's why what I'm seeing with Mark Kelly and in California, the lawyers or the sheriffs or the attorney general who's talking about arresting ICE, or in Minnesota, cops talking about going to war with the federal government.
Yeah.
Those are showing seeds of division. That is a form of insurrection. And I think our Democrat brothers are so dumb because they can't even identify what a man is or a woman.
Yeah.
So how are they going to understand law?
Well, they are
yeah.
dumb, but I think they're creating chaos on purpose. They want to destroy us, Jesse.
Yes, I agree. And this is why I started. I prefaced it with our founding fathers were so intelligent. United we stand, divided we fall. They're sowing seeds of division by this talking about the states going after the Fed. That is an act of division, of dividing.
Yes.
And so it's real clear. It's real easy to articulate that to our brothers and sisters and go, hey, a united people do not do what these sheriffs are talking about, or these attorney generals are talking about, or what Mark Kelly's talking about. A united people, united we stand, divided we fall. These people are purposely dividing us.
Absolutely. And when they go into the military and reminding the military, which is not an accident, you don't have to follow orders you don't agree with. You don't have to follow orders. And they're just trying to create division in there and make them think that, well, maybe I shouldn't follow this one or something. And they're setting seeds for an insurrection, man.
And imagine two young men meet on the corner of LA. One, a sheriff's deputy, 21, 22 years old, probably no constitutional education, and a ICE agent. And an ICE agent is arresting somebody. And that sheriff deputy takes it upon himself to start a fight with the ICE agent. It could end up in a deadly John Brown moment.
I think we've had deadly moments because of what's going on already, with not direct conflict, but indirect, because it's emboldened others to stand up for the crazies.
Yes.
And then there's no protection from the police, which is their job. But
I've been telling everybody I come in contact, united we stand, divided we fall.
That's right.
The Democrats have fallen into a pattern of division. And this has got to be called out everywhere from the mountaintops. Yeah.
I agree, man. I appreciate the call.
Talk to you later. Bye.
I got a call that told me that Mike Lindell just put his name in for the governor's race in Minnesota, which was great. Now, I'm sure he'll get the Somali vote, maybe not. But there's 12 other Republicans. I brought the report real quick to verify, take a look at it, see what Mike Lindell had to say. He says he's not sure if he's going to run yet or not, although he's already put in the paperwork, and he's 96% sure he's going to run. 98% sure he's going to run. And he said that on Minnesota Public Radio, that he hasn't formally declared, but he's put in the paperwork. That paperwork just went through yesterday. And Tim Walz has already announced he's going to be running for a third term. Amazing. The moxie that guy has. The destruction he's caused Minnesota. The embarrassment he is nationally. He says, I'm going to run again. But perhaps he'll win. I don't put it past the voters there. Well, see, my fact checkers tell me is don't use the term dumb. How am I going to talk? Well, he says name calling is a leftist concept. Use the term misinformed, lacking a factual understanding based in truth. Yeah, dumb support means, stating a thought. Okay. I don't disagree with him. But, all right, I'll put the phones back on. Phones are on 928-344-5258. Lower dementia risk, which is always interesting when I hear the red line, the headline like that. Yeah, I'm looking for lower dementia risk, assuming I don't have it. Of course, how do you know if you have dementia? But I'll tell you what creates a lower dementia risk, according to the article right after this phone call. You're on the air.
Hey, Russ, talking about APS, don't they require a license that the public endorses every 10 years?
I'm not sure.
They used to. I don't know if they still do, but when I was first came here, there was a petition requesting that APS not be allowed to operate here. It was the same petition where they asked John McCain to get rid of him as well. So it's been a while.
Well, but what happens? What happens? Okay, you say, okay, APS can't operate. What happens then? Well,
City of Yuma takes over.
City of Yuma doesn't have any power generation.
No, but they could buy poles, buy the lines.
Yeah, then which is an expense beyond belief, probably. And
Sure.
but it's not just buying them; it's the maintenance and the
Right.
expertise to maintain them, and the buying of all those trucks and hiring people to do that. It's
Yeah.
not an easy thing.
No, it'd be very difficult, but it would put APS on notice. And if indeed the public and APS operated under the authority of the public, and the public said, "We're tired of you,"
Yeah.
it would cause them to reevaluate. You don't want a bad publicity on your power company. And at the same time, when a few years ago, the power company in Phoenix, Salt, I don't remember the name of it, but they were saying take over your own power, and that was a full page ad. APS had full page ads at the time. And
Yeah.
all this other,
I've heard of some solar installation problems with that. They don't let you take it over completely.
right? Yeah, and I can understand that. I mean, but people are getting tired of APS.
Correct.
And we had one guy on the commission. He was caught in bed with APS, and he's still on the rolls.
Well, there's only Republicans on the rolls, so that's. I didn't think
Yeah.
APS was allowed to contribute to any of them or have any kind of contact. If they do, then it's a bad deal.
And you're right. And you're right. It was Southwest Gas.
Okay.
It wasn't APS.
Okay, possibly.
Yeah.
But the answer, I think, is for the future. More and more people can get off the grid more easily. The Castle Dome mine out in Yuma is a wonderful example. They operate that entire museum, personal houses, swimming pools, all that kind of stuff, and they don't have an APS wire within 20 miles of them.
Right.
And it's all by solar. Every bit of it's by solar, and they have batteries and a whole bit. They run 24/7 on all of it, and he built it himself. He didn't have somebody come in. It wasn't Elon Musk that come in and put all the brand new stuff and all that. He did it himself, and the technology is so good right now. You could probably do it to your house right now, and no problem. It's going to be expensive still, but you could.
But we can't do that. APS won't allow it.
Well, they will if you disconnect. You can't have at least, but I think that's changing where you can have a backup with the APS. But what would APS be then if they had just backup? If they just were backup?
Well, and then everybody else who is on APS, their bills would go through the roof.
Yeah, exactly. Well, whoever's left is going to pay for the infrastructure.
Yeah,
and that's probably what's happening a little bit with the solar right now.
Right. Yes. Sure.
Yeah. So it's not an easy answer, but we're going to go through a real change as these mini nuclear plants come out and they start being certified and coming out, and who owns them, who controls them.
Oh, it'll be APS.
Yeah, I would think so, because it's a monopoly, and the monopoly is given to by our government.
Yeah.
And then
they're not going away.
They're under strict control, but eventually, I see houses pulling off the grid and doing their own thing.
And that would be great. I'd love it. Sell some battery in my house and completely off the grid, and that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, it can be done right now. It's not cheap. Most people aren't going to do that, but it can be done, and you don't have to buy the most expensive equipment from Tesla. You can go out and talk to Castle Dome Mine, see how he did it. He does it with lead acid batteries.
Yeah. Ooh, ouch. Cool though.
Well, he has a trailer set up for it. They're all installed in a trailer. He does a great job with it.
If anyone knows if APS still operates under public authority, I'd be curious whether that's true or not anymore.
I looked it up real quick about it. Needing a license. I just brought it up on my AI thing says they don't require a license in Arizona.
Okay.
So I don't know how that works contractually, but you could get a corporation commission on the phone. They could explain it to you.
Yeah.
They because they being basically a monopoly, they have to do everything they do has to be approved through the corporation commission if it's an adjustment in rates or something.
Yeah, I understand.
All right, buddy.
Hey, appreciate it.
Appreciate the call.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Bye.
We'll be right back. It's already 8 o'clock, AM 560, KBLU.
There's a man in D.C. He stands 6'3". He's fighting for you. He's fighting for me.
This is News Talk 560 KBLU, Yuma.
We don't know who he is yet. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. After almost 5 years, manhunt and arrest this morning in an attempted bombing in Washington, D.C. the night of the infamous Capitol riot.
We don't know the suspect's name or anything about this person other than the fact this is a male that was living in Northern Virginia.
This is David Hunt.
It happened January 5th, 2021. A mysterious person covered from head to toe placed pipe bombs outside both the Democratic National Committee and Republican National Committee here in our nation's capital.
Those bombs were found the next day and never exploded. A short time to go inside the Capitol, a new congressman this morning.
I come to this distinguished body as a Christian, a husband, and a father.
Met in a special election for a vacant House seat Tuesday.
The people of Tennessee didn't send me here to just give a speech. They sent me here to deliver. And that is exactly what I intend to do.
That now gives Republicans a 220 to 213 majority in the House until Chief and Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene leaves in January. And Navy admirals at the Capitol and two Mitch have legal-based questions in private before House and Senate committees about one controversial attack in the ongoing military operation blowing up more than 20 boats off the coast of Venezuela, suspected of trafficking illegal drugs.
He's head of U.S. Special Operations Command. War Secretary Pete Hegseth says ordered a second strike on a suspected drug smuggling boat in the Caribbean September 2nd, killing 2 survivors of the initial strike. The Washington Post reports Secretary Hegseth had ordered before the strike that everyone be killed, and that Admiral Bradley told people on a secure conference call during the mission that the survivors were legitimate targets because they could theoretically call other traffickers to retrieve them and their cargo.
Fox's Chris Foster. Luigi Mangione is back in court now as his pretrial hearing continues 1 year to the day after the murder he's charged in the shooting of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in New York City. Mangione's lawyers are trying to get the judge to throw out some of the evidence against him. Americans listening to Fox News.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money, getting discounts with the commercial auto group from Progressive.
Also, your family employees are going to get angry. They're going to fulfill their dream of being a better union.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
This is the time of the year most of us are checking off our holiday gift list. Identity thieves have lists too, and your personal information might be on that list. Protect your identity with LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every single second and alerts you to the threats you could miss yourself. If your identity is stolen, your own U.S.-based restoration specialist is going to work to fix it. Guaranteed or your money back. Make the season about joy, not identity theft, with LifeLock. Save up to 40% off your first year at LifeLock.com with the promo code BECK.
From the News 11's Information Desk, I'm Janina Aguilera. The local organization is collecting hams to give to all local heroes in our area. The Hams for Heroes drive encourages people to donate hams that will go to firefighters, police, veterans, and anyone else who's a hero. The event is being put on by K9 Ops Foundation. The drive is happening next Monday, December 8th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Foothills Walmart. Plus, put a smile on kids' faces this holiday season with our Holiday Magic Toy Drive. Toy donations are down this year, potentially leaving hundreds of children in need without a gift from Santa. That's why we're teaming up with the Salvation Army to make Christmas a little brighter. We need your help collecting new toys. The Toy Drive will be next Friday, December 12th from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Pacific Avenue Walmart. Catch us on the TV side on News 11 every weekday at 5, 6, and 10 p.m. for your latest local news, weather, and sports.
There's a man in D.C. He stands 6'3". He's fighting for you. He's fighting for me. He'll bring that swamp, just like he said. He'll make America great again. So get on that Trump train. Ride with him. He'll stand up for you. And the red, white, and blue. Yeah, get on that Trump train.
AM 60 KPIU, Mark with you. Yeah, I called new Congressman Matt Van Epps from Tennessee, was sworn in, which happened pretty quickly. And I got a picture of it sworn. I don't know how much I believe it all, but it looks like he was sworn. I would think they'd have to certify the vote first. I don't know how they did that so quickly, but and the call I got today, of course, while I was on break, was a realization that probably Grijalva is going to be mad about that. Grijalva couldn't get sworn in because of the government was shut down, and they just said we're not doing it while the government's shut down. He gets sworn in, Van Epps, but that's awfully. I thought the counties had to certify it or whatever. Maybe not. I don't know. Or maybe they already did. I don't know how they work in that state. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Good morning. This is Sandy.
Good morning, Sandy.
Government wasn't shut down. That's my reply to any complaints from Grijalva.
No.
But I called for other reasons.
All right.
First of all, the media, of course, was reporting wrongly about the investigation of Pete Hegseth and Signal. And I sent you a video. It might have been late last night. I couldn't go to sleep.
Okay.
And basically, Timothy Parlatore, who's some sort of lawyer, saw the entire report, which was released yesterday, to the Hill, which means the Democrats are going to put out crap, which they did. Media is going to report it.
Yeah, I saw
and he
it.
said that
Yesterday. Yeah.
Hegseth was fully exonerated.
Yeah.
The unclassified portion will be released to the public today.
But what difference does it make to the Democrats whether it's been, he's been exonerated? They're going to keep. They still push the Russiagate on Trump.
Correct. And even though that was out there, the author of the report, Amanda and John Solomon, is the show that he was on, and she asked, but she didn't get an answer. Like who was the author of the report? And the author put one little opinion part, which Timothy Parlatore said wasn't even connected to any of the rest of the report, to try to trash Pete Hegseth.
Right.
And so we need to be aware that all Mark Warner's calling for a military coup.
Yes.
These guys are just very, very bad people, and we need to push back. And then I've got something else to report on. They're trying to make a big deal about the killing the boat.
Oh, the double cap?
Venezuela boat
Yeah,
and the two survivors. Well,
Yeah.
here's the newest report. There is another video that has come out, and I can't believe ABC is reporting this. It says, according to a source, the two survivors climbed back onto the boat after the initial strike. They were believed to be potentially in communication with others, and they were salvaging some of the drugs. It was determined that they were still in the fight.
Yep.
And so that's what's gonna come out, people, and keep faith in President Trump. Push back on these Democrats, because all they're gonna do, and to me, it's very dangerous. Calling for a military coup, that's what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's horrible, dangerous for a republic. And then going after ICE and Border Patrol, trying to get people to kill them. at some point, people in Arizona need to understand that they need to quit voting for Democrats. They shouldn't have voted for Gallego or Mark Kelly.
No.
And I agree with the man who calls in. I know he kind of gets after you, but they should have chosen to vote for the Republican, not Ruben Gallego.
I don't disagree with him on that, but
I
he's
know
kind
you
of over
don't.
the top aggressive. But the guy that calls me a
But what
rhino,
the little, like my husband said, the little bitty tiny part that people want to complain about, how she went after McCain, that little part compared to the history on Ruben Gallego, which people tended to ignore,
right?
is just so minuscule. And so when I even hear people that call in your show regularly, when they were trashing her, it just makes me really angry at them because it was just such a small part. They thought she was too arrogant or whatever.
Right.
Good grief.
Oh, I voted for her.
Compared to, and I know you agree with me on this.
Sure.
I get that.
But I
But
think
they
she also
need to
made a
cut it
mistake.
out.
She should have known it was going to cause problems, and she shouldn't have done
But
it.
we need to quit blaming her.
Well,
we need to stop it. We need to, because we're helping. We're helping the wrong side.
Oh.
Because Ruben Gallego has proven to be everything bad about the Democrat Party.
Right.
And if people voted for him for reasons like his ethnicity, well, then shame on you.
Ruben
That's
Gallego,
what you were up to.
he threatened people that don't, not to help, Donald Trump, or not to go. I mean, not to help people going after Mark Kelly. You'll pay a price. I mean, he threatened
I know.
people. He threatened them.
Well, what they want to do is they want to win another election, and they're just going to go after people like they did.
Yeah.
The January 6 people did not deserve that.
No.
That was just everything they did with them. A lot of them were elderly people. Everything they did was wrong.
They were behind
everything.
They were behind the velvet ropes, most of them. And for the guys that did any damage, arrest them for damage. That's fine. But for this craziness of everybody that put a footprint in there, that's nuts.
Correct. And the misdemeanor issues, like if they wanted to get them for being in the wrong area, a little fine. That's what it should have been.
Well, some of them were even let
They're
in.
not
too.
like they're not. There's something wrong with them. I'll put it that way. There's something wrong with the Democrat Party.
Yep.
Every one of them, there's something wrong in them that they don't look at trying to help the country. Like I've been reading more. And I shouldn't laugh about it, but there's so much fraud that is stealing taxpayer money, and people don't seem to understand that's money that they're taking away from you.
And Tim Walz is running again, even knowing that fraud is exposed and that he's responsible for it. And the mayor of Minneapolis, same one, saying that he feels bad for the Somali people.
And they may very well get reelected, but
Sure.
that doesn't mean that we don't go after the fraudsters.
Sure.
That's what I listened to PBD. That's a podcast, and they said a lot of the independents who voted want fraud taken care of in the country. They're tired of seeing their money being stolen by fraudsters. And it's not just the Somalis, and it's not just Minnesota. I just saw something I
know.
sent you. A lady from Ohio. There's California has lots of fraud with SNAP and other programs, and I think the biggest problem with the Democrat Party is they do everything so bad. They're breaking the law so much that it's really hard to clean up after them. And so President Trump is trying to clean up after 4 years that were bad and then previous years that were bad that the Democrats have been doing. And you know that they're doing it in Arizona. And they're finding it with the voting. They're finding it with stealing of taxpayer money. And it's just so much cleanup that maybe I don't know if President Trump's people would hear me, but hire a whole bunch more investigators, lawyers, and you're just going to have to go from state to state and prosecute these people because it's a massive number. And then hire more people for ICE, Border Patrol, and deport all illegals. Just get them out of the country. We just don't need them here. All they're doing is harming people.
Trump is on your bandwagon now. I mean, he's absolutely just beside himself on this. That these people all got to go.
Correct.
Yeah.
And not just the really bad ones, but some of them are really, really, really bad, like mass murderers. They're really bad.
Thieves, drug dealers, human traffickers, those kind of guys. But also the people just sitting there not causing crime, but living off our welfare systems.
Oh, right. Well, this one lady in this last video I sent you, well, no, it's not the last one because I sent you more. But she was talking about in Ohio, and she said some of these people, they have two wives. And what they do is they claim one wife, and then the other wife gets like EBT, gets all kinds of money. And so they've learned how, probably with American Democrats, teaching them how to do everything bad.
Yeah.
Teaching them, so they use that extra wife, or maybe they have a couple more wives, and they use them to get money from the government to help do what they want to do. While other people are trying to work two jobs, these people are taking advantage of the system. They're just stealing money from us. But try not to believe what the media puts out. They're very, very bad. They're doing the same stuff they did the first term, and just like try to investigate, try to look through, like finding this information, like I did when a lady from Town Hall put it out, and I'm sure it's going to appear other places, but always keep in mind that whatever you hear from the Democrats is tainted. Like, they don't report honestly about a report. Sometimes they'll leave things out. Sometimes they'll have an anonymous source so they can put something in. And they're just not trustworthy. And the Democrats are very not trustworthy. They are worse than I've ever seen. For a group of people, that seditious six, and then other Democrats to be calling for a military coup, you do not want these kind of people in power at all.
No, and there's an organization behind it, and they've already discovered David Hansen, David Victor Hansen has done a great video explaining how it's working. And it's basically right out of the PSYOPs book on how.
I think I've seen that. Are you talking about Victor Davis Hansen?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Victor David Hansen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. I do follow him, and I've seen what he's talking about, and he's right. But see, there's a lot of people that are right, and most of them are on President Trump's side. Yes. Because what's his goal? His goal is to make America great again. He is working for the American people. Do not let them tell you anything else. That guy is working his butt off for us. And he has a bright group of people in his administration. And Pete Hegseth is one of them. And they're going to try to get rid of people, and which is what they did, the first term. Trump should have never fired Michael Flynn. Part of that was the vice president's fault. Can't think it's Pence's fault. Pence, it turns out, was not a good guy. And I'm sad I was sad to find that out.
Me too. Yeah.
Anyway, stay strong, everybody.
Thank
stay
you.
strong, and the mission is not finished until the mission's complete. And if the mission is to take out the boat, you take out the boat and the drugs.
There you go.
That's just the way it is. If it takes 6 times to strike the boat, it takes 6 times to strike the boat.
I have
send it to the bottom of the sea.
I have a listener says you should be coming in here as a co-host.
I don't know about that, but that's so nice to hear.
Yeah.
That's you know what? Thank you, listener. You made me feel awesome. So
you take care.
I'll think about it.
All right. Bye.
All right. You have a good day.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, I'd take her right now as a co-host. And she is awesome. Whether she feels awesome, she feels awesome, which is really good. The lower dementia risk, which I talked about briefly, linked to routine vaccination. Now, The second I hear vaccination, I draw back, because we've been lied to about vaccinations, COVID vaccination and all that long history, which you all know the story. So I'm skeptical already. Well, they're not talking about the COVID vaccination. They're talking, which is really not a vaccination. It's kind of some DNA thing. But the shingles vaccine is what they're talking about. And it says it could slow progress of dementia, according to a new study from Stanford. Of course, I'm interested in looking now. I've already had the shingles vaccine. And I think part of it is because I've had so many friends that had shingles that told me you don't ever want shingles. There's people who have committed suicide over having shingles. They just can't get away from the pain and the discomfort. And it was sad, but that has happened. But the shingles that they found, they found older adults who received the vaccine who were 20% less likely to develop dementia over the next 7 years compared to those who didn't get the shot, which is really interesting. And 20% change is a lot. Dr. Prakash, let's see, it's Geltsetzer. He said, for the first time, now we have evidence that likely shows a cause and effect relationship between shingle vaccination and dementia prevention and treatment. Of course, I think that's great. I'd like to know more, and they give a little bit more here. He's an assistant professor of medicine, by the way, and author of the new study. He said for several years, eligibility for the shingles vaccine was based strictly on birth date. People born just before the cutoff automatically qualified, while people born just after did not. This created two large groups: older adults who were nearly identical in age, health profile and background only differed by who received the vaccine. So researchers had a real taste case of a base of people who never got the vaccine and the people with the vaccine. So they compared the dementia rates of those two groups of people. And the vaccine's benefit extended from the earliest signs of cognitive decline all the way to the last stages of dementia. Over the course of 9 years, the people that got the vaccine were less likely to be diagnosed with mild cognitive impairment. Those who received the vaccine after they'd already got diagnosed with dementia, significantly less likely to die from dementia in the next 9 years. And they know this from all these test groups they have for people that have and have not. And they suggested the vaccine probably slows the progress of the disease. Now, these people were, I wonder what country they were in. I don't think it was our country. Well, I'll find that out. But the seniors who had dementia at the start of the vaccine was 50%. I'm sorry, no, they weren't 50% that had dementia. 50% died from dementia. 30% died that received the vaccine. So it was significantly greater. Now, Geltsetzer says there is a growing body of research showing that the viruses that potentially target your nervous system and hibernate your nervous system for much of your life may be implicated in the development of dementia. I didn't really know that, but this virus likes to hide the nervous system, and that's the chicken pox. Yes, it includes chicken pox, which stays in the body for life. Which I guess that's the problem. You get chicken pox as a kid. I know my parents sent me to a kid's house that had chicken pox, so I would catch it. And then you build an immune system, and you're done with it. Except the chicken pox never leaves, stays in the body for life. And then when you're older, which I am, it can reactivate and can cause shingles. It triggers inflammation in and around the brain. That's according to the Mayo Clinic. Preventing viral flare-ups could also reduce inflammation, which has been linked to dementia. The critical limitation of this research, according to the team, is that the health behaviors of those who get vaccinated are different than those who do not. True. that is a real thing, and somebody that takes time to go get vaccinated, probably more health conscious, so probably doing more than just that, but, uh, Geldsitzer noted that we have, very little, if any, information on these behaviors in electronic health records or medical claim data. So he didn't check dietary behaviors or physical activity and all that. But he says if the shingles vaccine really prevents or delays dementia, and with this new study also appears to have benefits for those who already have dementia, then it would be a hugely important finding for clinical medicine, population health, and research into the causes of dementia. So check with your doctor, see if that's something you, well, I think most doctors are going to tell you to get the shingle vaccine just for the shingle vaccine because that's nothing you want and it can cause real issues. Yeah, issues you don't want to have. I want to talk about a U.S. citizen that is in a Russian jail. Robert Gillum. I don't know much about him except he's a U.S. citizen, and he was in Russia, and he was traveling between Sochi and Moscow because he had to replace a damaged passport. Well, according to the authorities, he was heavily intoxicated and got into. He got off. I think he was escorted. Let me see. Uh, he was escorted off the train or whatever, but it caused some problems. He he bruised a Russian police officer with a kick while being dragged off the train. That's what it was. He bruised. He was a yeah. He was convicted in 22 of assaulting a police officer because they told him you got to get off the train. They had to force him off. Now he says the drink was spiked or he was drunk. I don't know. But then it gets worse. You know, he his troubles increased once he was in jail. Now he was in jail, I think, for that initial assault was 3 years. Oh, and 3.5, and the prosecutors wanted 4.5 years. He only got 3.5 years for kicking the cop in Russia when he was drunk to get off the cop. I think we've had a lot of drunks in jail if that was the case here, but then in 2024 he was found guilty of attacking a prison inspector during a cell check, assaulting an investigator, and beating another guard. And those sentences were 8 years and a month. Well, now he's got 10 years he's got to do for beating the staff, and he's reported he's admitted to some of the assaults, and he said he began breaking prison rules after he was threatened with transfer from his current detention facility, which he described as a humane where he could receive packages from relatives, to a maximum security. So he started beating up cops, beating up the things. He apologized in court, explained his preference to remain in the facility that he's in and not go to the maximum security. So I don't know how far. I'd like to think, he's a U.S. citizen. We should get him back to the United States. He shouldn't be in prison in Russia. But I'm thinking, like, this guy doesn't sound like a real follower of rules. He's one of 9 Americans that we know about still in prison in Russia following multiple high-profile prisoner exchanges in 24 and 25. And would we do a prison exchange with this guy that decided that admits to and is beating up guards and stuff? Going there and he's obviously got a bad attitude. He has a military background also, which I'm sure Russia loves. Then now they probably think he's a spy. He says he was ill during the first attack. First, it was a spiked drink. Now he's ill, not drunk. And he first obtained and was provoked into actions that produced additional charges. So they provoked him. I don't know that I'd want this guy around me. Anyway, keep him away. I hate to see somebody staying in a Russian prison, but doesn't sound like a good guy. New York Times is suing the Pentagon. I'll tell you why after the break. We'll be back. AM 560.
With partly cloudy skies today, 68 the afternoon high, 10 to 15 mile per hour north winds today, partly cloudy and 44 tonight, 69 and sunny on Friday with 10 mile per hour winds out of the north, and clear and 45 on Friday night, warmer on the weekend.
To be a part of Ruster's show, call 928-344-5258. That's 928-344-5258.
At Exceptional Community Hospital, we are redefining what emergency care should feel like. Fast, personal, and compassionate. Our experienced ER physicians and staff are here 24/7 to care for your unexpected illness or injury. Don't wait for emergency care when you can be seen in minutes. With short wait times, you'll get the prompt attention you need because every minute matters. And if your recovery takes longer, we provide the inpatient care you deserve. Exceptional Community Hospital. Compassionate care. Exceptional service.
We're the comfort experts, people you can trust. Ask our customers. That's why they count on us. Over 50 years of service, keep us going strong. We've got a name you can depend upon. Hansberger Refrigeration and Electric. Hansberger, count on us.
AM 560 KBLU, Russ Cark with you. Phone lines are open 928-344-5258. The new Powerball. Nobody won the Powerball last night. I didn't buy a ticket again. It's now it's at $820 million. It's getting more attractive. Chances are still 1 in 300 million, right around there. Yeah. Yeah, but see, you could buy 300 million tickets. That way you'd buy them all. It would only cost you $300 million, and you would win 820 million. Sounds like a good investment. But if you have 300 million, but then somebody else may be doing the same thing, or you may have 5 people doing it, then you'd win, but you wouldn't have the whole jackpot. You'd have to share it 5 ways. So that'd be a pretty bad investment at that point. So it's going to go up to 820 million. Oh, it's $2 a ticket. My fact checker got that right away. I didn't even know he played Powerball. Yeah, it would cost you 200. It's cost you 600 million to buy. Wow, that's even worse than I thought. I'm not ready. It's only $800 million to buy it. And they sell a lot of tickets. They do. It's some people's retirement plan to buy Powerball tickets. That's their investment profile. I've been investing in Powerball. I don't think it works out well for most people. Like there's 1 in 300 million that it works out well for. My fact checker tells me it is a tax for people who don't understand math. Now, he tells me that his wife buys 10 each week. He buys 10 each week. She buys 10 each week. Good for her. She's playing the emotional side of things, not the logic, the emotional side. Logically, one person's going to win, though. That's a fact. Chance of you winning it is 1 in 300 million. Just remember that. New York Times sues the Pentagon. New York Times, over its policy, apparently the Pentagon is barring journalists from entering the Pentagon who are not adhering to its new news gathering terms. I don't even have a copy of those terms, but they don't like it at New York Times. The lawsuit was filed today, Thursday, today. The U.S. District Courts in Washington, D.C. names the Times as its intelligence reporter, Julian Barnes, as the plaintiff. They're suing Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and the chief spokesman Sean Parnell. They're the defendants. The Times claims now that the Pentagon violated the paper's First Amendment and Fifth Amendment rights when it implemented the policy. According to the Times, gives the Pentagon standardless discretion to punish reporters without due process by revoking their press badges based on the policies incurably vague language. So how they go about their news gathering, the Times also alleges viewpoint discrimination. They said, look, several reporters and outlets who were invited to Tuesday's press briefing after having signed the Pentagon's pledge and are outspoken supporters of Donald Trump. Now, apparently they're only getting in supporters of Donald Trump. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Good morning. How are you today?
We're doing well, Clyde.
Good. I thought I'd call you. You're kind of talking to yourself there. I have something interesting, or maybe I would call it a something to ponder upon, if you will.
All right.
We have a beautiful city and a beautiful county, and we know that obviously city limits end and county limits begin. And we have incredible first responders. But I've got a question or a thought out there, if you will. Avenue D and 16th Street. You familiar with the area?
Very much so. Yep.
Okay. Accident happens there. They just had a real bad one yesterday where a lady a couple were in a vehicle and they got T-boned by a Dodge 3500 one-ton truck.
Ouch.
Full on a trailer. So the lady had to be extradited out of the vehicle because it kind of just crumbled all around her.
Oh.
So how long do you think it would take for you to go from your shop to there at 2:30 in the afternoon?
Ooh, maybe 15 minutes.
If you're lucky.
Yeah. I mean, it's traffic. There's traffic, but I don't have a siren.
A lot of bottlenecking, you know, when you go across Avenue A, when you go across 4th Avenue. But because that's considered a county area, Rural Metro has to respond.
Correct.
And the unit that responded was the one that came from Arizona Avenue.
Oh, right. My neighbor.
Yeah. But there's a good City of Yuma fire department on Naples and 16th, which is about probably a mile and a half away from there.
Yeah, significantly shorter. Yeah.
Yeah, but because of where the now, mind you, the lady that was involved in the accident is a resident of the City of Yuma. But I mean, obviously nobody knows that. But I'm just wondering, you know, when you have those, you call that 911 call in and you get that confusion of what's going in and you got someone trapped in the car I mean, I would have to think that's got to be a very nervous position to be in when you just got slammed and can't get out. You're basically stuck there. I would think that somewhere along the line, and trust me, I'm not putting anybody down because I think we have incredible 911 operators.
Mm-hmm.
But the politics of whose the jurisdiction belongs to can sometimes be very confusing. And I'm just wondering, you know, maybe there's, I don't know, city people listen to you and county people listen to you, and maybe there's a way. Maybe there was a reason why that's the one that went. Maybe the other ones that might have been a little bit closer. There's another station over on Avenue B in about 32nd Street, you know, but maybe they were already on a call. I don't know. And I'm not finding fault with no one. I'm just kind of raising that question because I had that happen to me about 10 years ago when I called in an accident that happened in front of me, right on top of the hill there. You take Avenue B, which is Highway 95, and you go right up to the top of County 15 right there where there's a stoplight now. So there's like a little island. Part of the little island belongs to Cocobah. Obviously, Highway 95 belongs to the state of Arizona. And at that time, I didn't know of County 15 then. I think it was still probably county and not Somerton. I know it's Somerton now. But it took like 5 minutes to figure out who they were going to send out there because they wanted to know which side the tires were, if they were on the highway, or which way they were sticking at, or whatever.
Yeah, makes a difference.
And I almost felt like saying, "Hang on, let me get my tape measure and I'll go measure the car and draw you a diagram and send it to you."
Yeah,
it was just one of those deals. But I mean, I'm just something to help because God forbid one day it's one of us or somebody, that's near and dear or whatever, and something doesn't happen because it would have been just a few minutes quicker or something.
During a bad deal, I mean, I've seen where the city will respond and then rural metro comes in and takes over because it's their territory. I've seen that happen. I don't
Correct.
know. I don't know
Multiple
I don't know what
agencies and all that.
triggers. I don't know what triggers that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think. I'm sure YPD. YF, even fire department would have been notified. I'm sure they would have been, Johnny on the spot.
Yeah.
But it just, and I'm not finding fault with nobody, and I'm not trying to say that nobody. We have incredible first responders. I think they're the best in the world here in Yuma. I just think that maybe I don't know. I want to use the word politics of how it's run.
Well, the
maybe, and I don't.
first responders aren't involved in that. They just take care of people. They'll go wherever they're told. But I know there's guidelines based on expenses and everything else that they try to get the right crews.
I really don't think expenses are. I don't think what it costs to be That shouldn't be a decision of who you're going to send or how you're going to send it.
No, but there's territories, there's boundaries, responsibility areas. So
I understand, and like you just said, I know in the past it's always been whoever's the closest will respond and begin giving aid or whatever. Until then, the territory, whoever that territory belongs to, then they'll come in and they'll assume the responsibility or assume
and a lot of these agencies who work together on big deals. I had a murder of one of on my property in Somerton years ago. Man, we had every agency in the world out there. Everybody came.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, that's good.
The tribal police, the border patrol. In fact, border patrols want to track down the guy that did the murder.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember that happening, but I'm just makes one think, who if they can maybe take that decision of, what, this is where it happened and this is where the closest station is at. We're sending them there now, but if it belongs to the county, we're also sending rural metro. But at least, if somebody can get there, in save 5-6 minutes, that could mean the difference of saving someone's life.
Yeah, and I guess if you're calling 911, you might want to say that it's the not a big deal is a big deal, critical, not critical, those kind of things. But that might make a difference. I have no idea. I've not talked to a 911 operator in a while.
Yeah, no. Well, it's been a while. It's been a couple of years since I've talked to one when something happened in front of me. But it does. But like I said, I'm not finding fault with any of our first responders. They, like you said, they go where they're told to.
Yep.
They have no problem, and when they get there, they'll do it. And sometimes there's, hell of a doctor's in the area. Sometimes if they see it, they'll jump out and render some kind of aid or something till the paramedics get there or what have you not. Because they take an oath, to do what they got to do. This is our firemen do. But just something, down the road. You never know, and if you can adjust the political or the financial part of it to go back and forth, then at least someone can get there quicker than someone else.
All right, buddy. I appreciate the call.
Have a good day.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I don't know. I know it's jurisdictional and they have to stay within the boundaries somewhat, but I know there's exceptions always. The Melanie called or wrote me, says, because I was talking about the shingle shot, which I did get the shingle shot, and there's two of them. You get one and then you get a booster 90 days later or so. Did the shingle shots make you feel bad? That's a great question, because sometimes you can get stuff like that. No, it did not to me, and I think that's anecdotal. I don't know what it does to everybody, but I didn't feel anything, and I didn't have any reaction to it. I wasn't tired or sore. Not a problem with my arm. Not sick. Did it hurt? I don't. No, I'm not. I don't have a real big fear of needles. But I don't remember if the arm was sore. But normally, if it is, it's just like a bruise or something. It's not like painful. It's not going to stop me from doing anything. But I don't recall. I don't recall exactly how that was. And the Pentagon is being sued. Of course, I told you that it's the new policies and stuff. And the defendant says it's going to punish reporters without due process by revoking the press badges. And the Times also alleges viewpoint discrimination, pointing to several reporters and outlets who were invited into Tuesday's briefing, and they were friends of Donald Trump. I went through that, but and I don't have the answer for that. I don't blame the Pentagon because there's some reporters out there that tell half truths, half lies, and try to put the administration in a bad light, and it's not truthful. I think sometimes New York Times should be sued. I'm not too happy though. Whatever, but there's definitely people, and I think, look, I got kicked off YouTube because I'm back on, by the way. Somehow something happened, and they invited people back on. But that was a direct interference from Katie Hobbs when she was Secretary of State, contacted Merrick Garland and said that I was a problem, and there was 1,500 of us turned off. Those are direct interference, direct push on politics and all that. That was intentional by the Democrat Party to try to get me thrown off the air, at least on YouTube. And I don't know what they're asking for. I can't imagine it's stupid because they're pretty transparent. This administration, when they do anything, cabinet meetings, whatever, they're live on air mostly. Not always, but not every moment. But it's live on air. They don't hide behind anything, but they ask for fair, fair reporting. Suit states that the policy, which vests department officials with unbridled discretion to immediately suspend and you ultimately revoke a reporter's pass for engaging in lawful news gathering, both on and off Pentagon grounds, and for reporting in information department officials have not approved. It is neither reasonable nor viewpoint neutral. I don't know where that falls. Like, does everyone have a right to be in a newsroom? Does every organization have a right to be in the newsroom? I would guess the answer is no. You don't. I would be in the White House newsroom every time I could. I would. If I was closer. George has applied for passes because they've opened it up. And he comes on this show, so he's applied for passes. And to my knowledge, he has never received one. That doesn't mean it's discrimination. The Times spokesperson, Charlie Standlander, said, as a result of the department's implementation of this policy earlier this year, journalists reporting on the U.S. military faces loss of their press credentials for doing nothing more than bringing facts to light on behalf of the public, one of the core tenets of a free press in a democracy. Which, that's the Times speaking. I would be curious, and then there's nothing in here what the Pentagon says about the Times. But you could bring facts forward and misrepresent them and twist them or leave them half facts and don't tell the rest of the story, which I think the Times has the ability to do. The journalism produced by the Times and other outlets who refuse to sign the policy provides critical information to the American public about the actions of the U.S. military undertakes in the name of financial expense and services to members, military by reporting on matters of health, safety, housing, and foreign deployment. That's just a lot of PR rhetoric. The policy is an attempt to exert control over reporting the government's dislikes in violation of a free press. The government can't stop you from reporting, by the way, and taking away the credentials to get into the building doesn't mean you can't write a story. So I don't know how it's a violation, but there have been cases where people were kicked out of the press rooms of like the White House, and judges tell me you got to take them back in. Jim Acosta, remember, who was an absolute jerk, unruly, didn't follow the rules. And he was invited back in because the judge said so. And believe me, the New York Times knows it. Now, the New York Times says There were discussions with other news organizations about the possibility of filing a joint lawsuit, but they ultimately decided to go on its own. Well, what that means is nobody would join you, is what that means. Nobody jumped in, which you wonder why. Now, at the end of the day, the other news agencies, according to them, were signed by. Well, there's a message here signed by lots of organizations. It says we join virtually every other news organization in declining to agree that the Pentagon's new requirements, which would restrict journalists' ability to keep the nation and the world informed of important national and security issues, the policy is without precedent and threatens core journalistic protections. We will continue to cover the U.S. military, as each of our organizations has done for many decades, upholding the principles of a free and independent press. And it's signed by ABC, CBS, CNN, Fox, NBC, in a joint statement. But none of them got kicked out of the Pentagon. And that's all I know is what's in the story. I really don't know what happened. I mean, it raised curiosities for me more than anything. Like what the heck did you do to get kicked out? Because we got a lot of bad players that get in still with CBS, NBC, and MSNBC, and all those guys. So what did the Times do? There has to be something. I mean, I don't think we have the rest of the story just yet. I know Sandy talked about it, a few people talked about it, and I've discussed it, the military resistance thing. Seditious six and all that. Now, Victor David Hansen has written that it's a widespread, it's a big operation to overthrow Donald Trump, to create doubt in the military, to show authorities don't trust him, and to ask them to not act for an upcoming crisis, whatever that crisis is, yet to be determined. Well, I find out that it was also followed up by billboards stating the same thing and other advertisements stating the same thing, not just the seditious six. Well, now Barack Obama is out talking about it on Monday. Not the seditious six. He's not talking about that. He's talking about military. He said Monday there's a resistance in the military preventing its politicians, politicization by the Trump administration. So on Monday, Barack Obama joins the fray of discussing perceived friction between the military and President Trump because he's trying to politicize the military, which is just a ridiculous comment. If anybody politicized the military, it would have been Joe Biden. Joe Biden's the one that says dresses are okay, DII is good because that's the current thing, and he involved himself in politicizing, making them politically correct and getting them up to the current politics of the Democrats anyway. But now Obama's saying that there's military stuff wrong. There's resistance, and that was that was an hour-long interview that he had and he talks about pretty big breakdowns of major institutions and claims that the military is being used in partisan politics. Resistance within the ranks has helped hinder its complete politicization. So he's saying there's people already standing up to Donald Trump. I would not expect the politicization of the Justice Department or our military, and I don't think that happened. I think there's been resistance, particularly in the military, to that, but to the degree in which it has been encouraged, that used to be something that I would lecture other countries not to do. You don't have your military involved in partisan politics. Where in the hell are partisan politics, Brock, for the military? Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Hey, Russ, how you doing?
Good morning, sir. Little as I can.
Yeah, I got that. Listen, talk about tariffs here. I just had looked up during the night the 1912 Democratic platform. That's the one that Woodrow Wilson would run on.
Okay.
And he mentioned tariffs. And here's what he said in one paragraph here. This is the Democratic Party National Convention, Baltimore, Maryland, okay, the platform, 1912. We declare, talking about tariffs, we declare it to be a fundamental principle of the Democratic Party that the federal government, under the Constitution, has no right or power to impose or collect tariff duties except for the purpose of revenue. That's in their platform, and that they're fighting Trump on the tariffs. And we demand that the collection of such taxes shall be limited to the necessities of government, honestly and economically administered.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, they were for it before they were against it, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. and then let me see if I can scroll down here a little bit. Doggone it. I had it right. Okay, here we go. It has to do with the rights of the states. We believe in the preservation and maintenance in full strength and integrity of three coordinated branches of the federal government: the executive, the legislative, and the judicial. Each keeping in its own bounds and not encroaching upon each powers of either of the others.
Oh.
They belong.
And I don't like Woodrow Wilson, by the way, but I would agree with
No. If you read this, he breached everything.
Wow.
They run on this. It's a lie. The 1912 Democratic platform is a lie. Everything they did, they went and done it different. Remember, they were talking about revenue tariffs. Well, they're the ones that I was hoping you already know this. Woodrow Wilson was the one that signed the illegal ratification of the 16th Amendment to tax income. So they weren't happy just with tariffs. They went way beyond that.
Yeah.
And they are the ones that challenged Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution by signing falsely in the law of the 17th Amendment. I mean, these people are so radical, so untrue. The Democratic Party, they've got to be a bunch of bamboozlers, and they just have to lie. That's the only way they can win elections. See, the Democrats have to have black votes to win. They have to. They can't win without the black vote. But the Republican Party can because their numbers are 60% Caucasian. But the Democrats need those 12% blacks to win, or if they don't have the black vote, they don't win any elections, Russ. That's why it's imperative. That's why Trump challenged them to go get what he can to chip the way so they'll lose.
He did chip away at all sectors.
Yes, he did. Yeah. And he got it enough that they lost. Yes, that's what he did. Because if the Democrats can't lie and bamboozle the blacks. Because remember, 77% of black men voted for a Marxist, Kamala Harris. They brag about that.
Yeah.
That's the number. 77, and we can't let them forget that. 77% of black men that voted for a Marxist. They didn't vote for the United States. Now, these are the same ones that watch football, by the way. These are the same black players that the camera is not showing them abusing the flag and the national anthem. Now, I noticed the Kansas City and Dallas game, they preempted the anthem and the flag. Because I have been bombarding those guys with all kinds of comments. I really have. For 2 years, I've been bombarding them. Maybe they're starting to get the message. Because if we pull up the Dallas Cowboy game, Thanksgiving Day, I'm talking about, evening. They didn't even play the national anthem or the flag. They didn't even display it. So they're getting the message by not playing it.
Wow.
The NFL does not need our national anthem if they're going to abuse it. They don't. I'm done with football anyway, but I just watch it to be sure, to keep them honest, and then I bombard them with comments because someone has to. I got nothing to lose. Come and get in your helicopter, whatever you want to do. I don't care. But I'm just saying. But these black people that are abusing this flag, they need to find another hobby, is my point, or another country. I'm not from that. If you don't like this country, don't like the symbols, find another country, folks.
Yeah.
I'll help pay your money. Yes, I mean this.
I know you do. Hey, I'm out of time, my friend. It's top of the hour. I'm going to get taken over.
Okay.
Appreciate
you.
you.
Have a good day.
Thanks, man. Bye-bye. Of course, that was OG. I'll be back tomorrow. Enjoy your Thursday. AM 560 KBOU.
There's a man in D.C.